bounties as well as 2 kills. So 1k gold up, 30 seconds in, pretty nice.
Feels pretty good, that one. Abed, especially with the first blood bonus, he's, of course, leading in net worth. Not by much, but it'll be an earlier bottle here versus all the magic damage that Quinn's going to be pumping out. There, the top lane goes on sailing through and only finds the range creep. There's Fly already getting involved, getting just brawl heavy, as you'd expect. As I think Fata, yes, he's blocked the easy camp and made sure that the hard camp is not blocked by ward. Of course, he can't do much versus the tanky Undying, who stands there and body blocks it. So the lanes are going to push here slightly for Arteezy.
Yep.
See how much Fata is going to do. As a result, of course, this does put the Marcy up top lane, where she's going to quickly jump onto a creep. It still gets denied, actually, by Nightfall there, but MS is doing as much as he can here to make some space early for Yawar.
Yeah, they're doing fine so far. There's just like a very hard timing here when these hits, especially level 5, these boars are probably going to be too strong for Juggernaut, unless you have like a really big lead, which I don't see you getting.
Yeah, and down bottom now, like you said, Gus taking level 1, not what you generally see for a mid lane, or sorry, a safe lane Drow. Up to level 2 already, so has the Frost Arrows and a little bit more harass to assist Fly and making sure that, of course, Arteezy can get off to a great start.
Yeah.
Mid, Abed worse for wear as well, but not doing as well as Quinn in these early couple of levels. And has taken a bit of a beating, but he's got a water rune for him down bottom, so he'll be able to heal up and sustain a bit more in this lane.
Yeah, I mean, he should be really happy that he got that first blood. Like, it makes a big difference for him. Because he already has to ferry out the Salve, right? Because Quinn just keeps hitting him. So that this extra 300 net worth is huge.
Water rune active. Primal Beast drinking water. Growling as such is the most primal of actions for him, I'm sure. It's a decent start for him. He's going to be going for earlier boots here versus Quinn. Doesn't really need much stats with the impressive strength gain that this hero has at 4.3 tankiest hero in the entire game in that regard.
So right now, Arteezy has to be a little careful, right? Because he can easily get slept and skewered here. So like this is the... Okay, so there you
go. Fly. He's saving a skill point here. Skewer under tower for Arteezy. The Gust back, and Arteezy's running towards the Dire base here. They're going to pull him back with Shockwave for a second, but they have the kill.
Very surprised he got caught by that. That's like literally the only thing they can do. But that's... I like what Sonics have done here with the lanes. I was a little like hesitant if the Bane would be enough, but it seems like he really made up for how strong Undying is in this lane.
Yeah, and even, you know, again, looking at the other lane and how that affects things, I'm not sure how much kill potential there is here. Well, now they have at least spin level 2, but rebound and into a stun, move speed for the Juggernaut into his spit is almost exactly what you're looking for. It does seem like there's more you can do here between a Nightmare and a Skewer for Leslau at least, compared to like Nightmare into spin, which allows Jug to get positioning, but you'd rather have that move speed slow. You'd rather have that ton. And speaking of move speed, in goes MSS towards the mid lane. He looks to rotate on in, has the dispose. Quinn looking to set up the stun, will find it. Abed takes a death mid.
Very nice. Exactly what they need to be doing. And perfect here. He's going to get 2 water runes. Like, this is huge. Like, this is really bad for Abed. Because when Leshrac hits 6 before you, it's very common he just runs you down with Pulse Nova, right? Like, it's so early in the game. And, like, if you TP in as a support, he just kills you too.
You know, I'm starting to think a little bit here, Pi. But maybe this is the best way you can play your early game as a support versus Undying, right? I mean, I think something that you can certainly do that he's not going to be able to kind of counter you at is rotate, especially towards the mid lane. Undying just doesn't feel as strong unless he's like maybe maxing Tombstone in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just, I think Fly has played a little too passive. He should have been hitting a lot more, like manning up versus Bane, fighting him. But, I mean, I would have to analyze the lane deeper to be really sure what was going on there. But I'm a little surprised they've done as well as they have.
Almost a little bit of a tri-lane down bottom for a couple of seconds as both supports actually, here both teams find themselves in that area. But now as we look towards the minute 6 power runes, yep, they're going to go again mid. Onto Abed, there's a stun, there's still another dispose, no onslaught for a few more seconds, and that's a second kill now onto Abed.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is what happens, right? And this is exactly what we talked about them needing to do. like these quick rotations. Because Marcy's like, yeah, the Juggernaut will suffer a bit, but I'll do way more running around the map than sitting up there.
Yeah, for sure. And Yower is able to pull just fine. The Boars trying to intercept the wave will get most of them, so some pretty good micro there by Nightfall to make sure he's able to, you know, get most of the experience and gold. But nice job. You know, again, like we said earlier, with mana, Lesh has certainly enough damage to almost kill anyone in the game, and he just needs that little +1 to make sure that can actually happen. Looks like EG, though, are going to be able to get their hands on this power rune. MSS is rotating on over, and actually he's going to snag the DD away.
Too fast.
Might pay for that with his life, and he will.
Yeah.
But, denies the full refill on the power rune here for Abed.
Yeah. No, so EG really want their 6 now on Primal Beast. Because that's the... I guess they have Roar too. Because they've left Beastmaster alone now, so he's got quite a bit of experience. But before they have these 2 ultimates, it's way harder for Mirana to play. Because there's no setup for Arrow, right?
Very sure.
Okay, a little smoke here. Okay, nice. So here, now they're gonna try to get this Beastmaster.
Oh,
Let's
looks
see,
like
crit.
crit. Yeah, he's going to break the smoke. They're going to go onto him. A leap charge away, dispose into the stun. Perfectly calculated there by
Very
Sonics.
nice.
They're going to set up for a kill. And Quinn still thinking about going top. Thinking about it. At least allows MSS to get into the triangle here and plant a ward, which doesn't block the camp, but will scout any stacks that end up happening here.
Yeah. I like without a smoke, it's very uncomfortable to run top, right? Like you're just gonna be scouted by a hawk or something.
Yeah, and Nightfall already
Oh,
fairly
Lord.
tanky, level 6, as there it is. He beats Juggernaut to the punch. Oh, and the arrow setup is there as Crit rotates on back over and collects the first 2 of his earn charges. Nightfall immediately getting to work on this tier 1 tower. Quinn doesn't want to let this one go so fast, and there's that rotation we were talking about earlier. And oh yeah, he cleans up creeps real quick, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Bottom, though, is where Abed instead is going to rotate to. Nice rotation here. You see the enemy rotate top. You go ahead and run back down bottom.
Yeah. And I want to say that like Sonics have played this very well, but if you look at the gold on the farm, EG are still very comfortable, right? This Juggernaut has suffered. It's not been a good lane versus Beastmaster. So yeah.
What would your analysis be on this bottom lane here, especially for how difficult we were thinking this one was looking out of the gates with a Magnus Marcy up against an Undying? How would you say that has fared for Sonics?
No, they should be very happy with that. Like Drow Ranger still has decent farm, right? But it's not oh, okay, he should be fine. It's still not been absolutely free, and the Magnus has kept up. Like he's basically the same net worth. So this is a lane they should be happy with. Like they were never gonna win it, right? Unless RTC kept getting slept skewered into tower.
Skewered under,
Yeah.
He learns though. That'll happen. You only catch Arteezy with skewer under tower though once. No one catches Arteezy twice.
That's right.
And well, it's level 6 first for Lelis, who is still 1v2ing down here. And the reason I brought this up, right, is because this is some condition, right, for the Juggernaut to kind of get a little bit back in this game. The cleave no longer as powerful as it used to be on your allies, but it's still going to be a kind of farm accelerant here for the Juggernaut, who, again, has been struggling. DLR still only actually level 5. About to get level 6 off of this mid-wave, but didn't really have an easy time. And in fact, just to show, Nightfall's already starting to push top with the Troll Summoner creeps.
Okay.
4 heroes bottom, though, for Sonics.
They do have a lane ward. Yeah, so RTC knows this is happening.
And he's going to do well to get the heck out of here.
Yeah, for sure. No, because now you see Beastmaster basically takes the top tower by himself, so you do want to get this tower here bottom back for it, but
yeah, and Sonics actually, they maybe were keen to defend top lane, but Crit actually puts down this lane ward behind the tower that scouted Quinn. So Nightfall just farms a couple of camps and waits for Quinn to leave. As soon as they see Quinn TPing bottom with their other lane ward, he moves in and immediately takes down the tower. So good map movements overall by EG during that sequence of events, even though there's no action, quote unquote, on screen.
yeah. Okay, so this is a nice little rotation back to mid there. Let's see Fata. Okay, never mind. I thought he was gonna try to sleep, but it's scary here. There is this roar. There is pulverized into arrow. So.
Oh. So a mini onslaught from Abed.
No, but you look at this tower going down, right? Dark Troll Summoner with Inner Beast, it just melts.
Oh, and they're TPing top. They want to get a kill on the Yower, but he's going to read this one coming and make sure he TPs away in time before Nightfall can close the gap for a Primal Roar. Back
Yeah.
down bottom, Lelis and Yawa now getting to work on this tier 1 bottom. So nice rotation from Sonics, at least picking up their first tower of the game.
Yeah, but with Sonics getting this tower, I don't think, I think the map state is actually pretty nice for them. Like, this clears it up for Juggernaut. He can farm all of this. They're gonna have Ancient stacks coming up. I think Fata will sit around mid, stack Ancients. And yeah, I think they should be decently happy with this. I think Magnus will end up slightly underfarmed, but that will be fine. So I think
Yeah,
they
and
should
if
be
you- I
happy right now.
You look at the core to core, and Yawa is doing just fine compared to the Drow Ranger for now, and I might say we should expect him to get a little bit more of a lead as here he goes to farm some stacks with Empower. There's MSS and Fata stacking again, so it's going to be a quad stack of the hard camp and a triple stack on Ancients.
Yeah, maybe a little early to do this, but level 4 Empower, so maybe it's okay.
The Sonic supports just acting as a buffer right now to the triangle. They're actually going to scout that Hawk with the Sentry and Observer as they see Abed trampling around in the mid lane.
Yeah, unfortunately for Quinn. Okay, so Quinn goes out there. Yeah, good. Like, if Quinn has to sit in the bushes, that's not good. You gotta let this man farm.
This could be a move. I don't know if anyone got picked up on that Sentry Ward that Sonics have, but they are going to be under vision for the ward.
They seem to know, right? They're pinging it out.
That's a quick deal where, of course, they only needed the Sentry. They already had the Hawk there for vision. So
Okay,
that
they're
feels
smoking back. They
pretty
want to fight this. But EG are getting out. Okay.
And Yawar's going to continue to recover here, actually. Did go for that Midas, so on top of course, the Empower that I've been so keen to bring up, he also has a Midas now to continue accelerating his farm.
Yeah. Both teams being very disciplined there. Like, they're basically 5 heroes farming at the stack, right? They don't want to get picked off.
There's a dangerous rune as well for Abed into the bottle. For him goes that haste rune, which with Trample is going to be a bit more damage for him.
Yeah. No, so kind of an even game right now. This Midas and Jug, we'll see. It's a bit of a Ramsey special. He always does this. Like, obviously, you'll be more farmed than you would have been, like, in 10 minutes. But for now, he's very, very weak.
Let's talk about first items as well, because of course, I think the only hero, I think I brought this up earlier in LCQs, but you keenly pointed out, really only the Lash just builds this item, isn't it, right? First item, Bloodstone for him right out of the gate.
Yeah. No, it's super strong. It basically gives you, like, you become more tanky. Okay, wait, they're going bottom here.
Yeah, an RP, but I think that's just a disengage.
Yeah. No, so back to the Bloodstone. It gives you more tankiness, and it also gives you sustain. Because every creep wave, like, you're basically going to be spamming this item. So every creep wave you farm, you'll activate it, and you'll gain more mana than you spent killing it. And that's how you'll play. Okay, they're pinging Roche. Yeah, I think EG are getting a little frustrated. They could have farmed the map a bit more efficiently, I believe. Like, Arteezy is very poor. Not very poor. He's slightly more poor than he should be. So they'll go pick this up, which I think is a good move.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is very fast. All 5 heroes on the Roche Pit buffed a little bit here by all 6 rallies of the Skellies. Of course, that damage amplification as well from Fly's Flesh Golem, almost forgetting the Aegis. There we go into the inventory of Abed.
Yeah.
That's a fast Roche here, especially without the threat of an RP. They feel very confident, and they take it.
Yeah. No, so I'm just curious if both teams will be happy with the state of the game, right? Because then we can see both teams just farming, or if EG are gonna smoke up or just go together and try to push the tower. Because they do have Undying, they have Tombstone. They have, okay, so they have Helm of the Overlord now too on Nightfall. So they
Brown
do have
boots,
some nice items.
Yeah, they're coming along pretty nicely here. Abed as well, nearly at his first BKB. I think the only weakness, the only glaring weakness we've seen for EG is Tombstone is only level 2.
Yeah.
Not as much, perhaps, early fighting as an Undying would really want, which is basically unlimited fights, assuming he has mana. So it's a little bit lower level here on the Tombstone, but I think either way, of course, they're not going to wait for Fly to get more levels, and in they go into the smoke and likely into the enemy triangle.
Okay. It should be very hard to catch this Jug. Like, immediately when the smoke breaks, he'll spin and face boot and run. So I don't know how you catch him. It's a bit optimistic here.
Roar into arrow would have to be basically right there and on the mark. Without a blink dagger yet here for Nightfall, it does feel a bit difficult. And so, of course, he's going to be going for some more stats first. Love the efficiency of these pro players, by the way. Just 3 Ironwood branches here to maximize all slots for Nightfall. He's not leaving his inventory empty. No way, man.
Yeah. Okay, let's slow set up down here. RP ready. He's got Blink Dagger.
Big reveal here for Sonics. Could look to equalize here, maybe gain a bit of advantage. It's the Ancient Black Dragon now pushing pretty effectively here with that Fireball and the bonus attack speed.
Yeah, but this is good for them. Like, yeah, they're playing very passive, and their Juggernaut will just free farm top.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, Manta's on the way for him. Arteezy as well continues to farm up. He's going to look to upgrade, it looks like, into the full Hurricane Pike. Forced out next. Jug into Manta style. Has enough for the Yasha. It's flying his way now, but needs an Ultimate Orb and that recipe. So they're coming along fairly evenly. Yawar starting to really break up ahead thanks to Empower and Midas. Arteezy not falling behind too much.
Yep. With Spirit Vessel and Mirana coming soon. It's pretty good early here versus Leshrac. Won't let him be invulnerable with this Bloodstone. Yeah, so basically when you click the Bloodstone, right, you almost have 100% spell magic lifesteal. The Spirit Vessel really lessens that.
And no source of Dispel yet for Sonics, right, to get rid of that. Of course, only the Jug can dispel himself, so he doesn't have to be too concerned with that. But yeah, against the Healing Ward and against the Bloodstone Lash, as you say, certainly is going to be quite valuable to reduce that healing. Quinn next going for the Blink Dagger. He's actually almost got it already, and maybe with this creep, it's a pretty big wave. He might have the money here for it if he gets that wagon.
Yeah, better hit this last hit, brother.
Yeah, don't miss it, Quinn. The world's watching. But he'll get his Blink Dagger here, I'm sure. There it is. Just shy of 20 gold. But EG not really too eager to look for fights. They're going to get that last tier 1 down bottom, so the map quite open for them to be making moves. They continue to farm up, and Abed now with BKB on his way towards him might look to kick things off here while they still have Aegis on the Primal for another 2 minutes.
Yeah. Now, so Yawar is definitely not looking to fight, right? He's the last hero who wants to fight. The rest of Sonics, I think they're like they would be down. They're kind of ready. Yeah, smoking up here. Like they kind of have what they want.
Maybe trying to bait Quinn as he does farm a wave underneath the ward. Of course, he knows that they have vision of the wave. He's going to actually go a little bit further into the jungle while Fly is ready to intercept here this smoke. Fanta, his smoke will break. Does get the ward up now onto the high ground. Nightmare and Grip onto one and another. They're going to be able to get the tombstone dropped, however, in time. So Sonics are going to have to get out, as you were saying.
Yeah. No, that would be a very suspicious moment to fight. Like, he still has Aegis for a minute. BKB on Primal.
Now no grip here for this kind of defense. Quinn, of course, is going to collect that gold off of the Ancient Black Dragon. Easy money for him.
Yeah, and Yawar very happy with this. Like, he just gets to see every hero on the map a bit, and that means he can keep farming.
Farming with confidence. What Arteezy has at least been able to do. It's been his team looking to set the tempo and being a little bit more aggressive on the enemy side of the map. He's maybe a little bit sore that Nightfall keeps stealing a nation from him every now and then, but yeah, ultimately it's not going to affect his net worth too much. And you can actually see he's actually gone for the Frost Arrow Shard early. I think this used to be called Permafrost or Hypothermia or something like that. It is still called Hypothermia. So this is also going to further reduce that healing that we're talking about.
Yeah. Maybe it helps him to clear creeps too. Because otherwise, I don't see what. Yeah. So you see here, using the multi-shot on a wave, it just blows up. Because otherwise, there's no way Arteezy would get this shard. It was only to reduce healing. Like, no way.
Fair enough, right? It's a farming tool. All right.
Look mid here, just Leshrac cleaning up these creeps.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's another. This 500 gold in the past 1 minute from just ancient creeps.
That's a tanky creep as well, right? He comes with the HP aura, so. Just in case it wasn't clear enough, Leshy can certainly melt these kinds of units and heroes. Not much problem.
Yeah, no, very passive game. And EG have actually snuck up to a 2k gold lead here. They're farming the maps a bit more efficiently. But that's to be expected, right? They have Hawks, they have Aegis, BKB on Primal. And Sonics have this one hero that really don't want to fight in the Juggernaut.
Quinn's next item as well, it's a bit more of an interesting one. The Ag Scepter Nihilism. Compared to the last time we really saw Lesh. Hold that thought, actually. Ooh, he blinks out in time. Fata, will he be as lucky as EG? There's smoke. It's starting to expire. They jump back in from MSS, but they've mistimed that one. Oh no, Lelis, he did commit it. Now he's going to get the ulti, the RP whiff. As in goes Abed now. He still has his BKB. There he goes, right onto the Leshrac now, with even Arteezy joining this fight from the back, but the healing ward still active. No, not enough heals there for Quinn. He is taken down. Fata doing what he can, but out of mana. The Hypothermia stacks now getting to him. Nightfall with 2 kills there. Sonics just bit flubbing the initiation there on their own high ground, or on their own cliff there.
Yeah, not the most pretty sight, that right? Yeah, so like the thing when you're playing these slow games, you have to really hit that fight when you want to fight. You can't because you see he sleeps him right, and then that makes the Marcy stun not hit. Yeah, we'll see here. Yeah, so the sleep he jumps, it doesn't hit, and now Magnus goes in, and that's the problem. Like that, he just has to accept that he cannot go in here, and him going in, just getting roared, missing the RP leads to Quinn dying, and I think Fata dies too, right?
Yep.
And that's a lot of gold given to EG.
Some more damage dealt there as well. Mid-tier 2 tower taken down. Lickety split for EG. Maybe even they feel confident enough to go for a tier 2 top. Quinn is here. He wants to farm another 300 or 250 gold here from the Ancient Thunderhide. Gonna go down pretty easily. This one will go actually towards Yawar, who is still not joining these fights, right? He was still farming there throughout that fight, throughout that replay even. Has now a full Manta style to show for it and a magic stick.
Yeah. Now, so basically now the Roche will just be harder to contest, right? Like these Hawks, if EG ever get control of the dire jungle, they can take the outpost since they got the tower. They're now also like 3k gold more up than they would have been otherwise. So like you just set yourself up a bit worse here, but you can certainly still win fights. Like that, I mean, that was not a fair fight, right?
No.
They didn't hit a single spell. So
didn't come together there for Sonics. A bit frustrating. Maybe now they're going to be looking to make another go at things here. Fiend's Grip coming off cooldown now, but it's EG who actually make the first move as they will smoke over towards their jungle and out towards the mid lane. Blink Dagger now on Primal Beast alongside his long duration BKB, and he's going to be very pleased to find that in Arcane Room, maybe even trying to bait it here.
but that's Blink, so finally they're easy initiations. Yeah.
Mini onslaught setups for the arrow. That's already a lopsided fight, and Quinn now being grabbed. Nice job there to interrupt it. Alba didn't activate the BKB, but there's going to be the roar on a Quinn. Lawless as well with the RP, but it's only going to catch Fly. Lawless trying to get out of here with just with the TP away. It's going to abandon Quinn in this fight, but Yawar as well has shown up to this one. He's going to look for the spin out. They've already used the roar, but they almost get him with the physical damage there, Pi.
Yeah, very close.
MSS at least will cut through Quinn. So it's only a 2-for-1 trade, of course, as they also find the Bane towards the start of that one in favor of EG, but difficult fights here for Sonic so far.
Yeah, they just don't seem, especially with the Primal BKB, right? Like, they don't have enough damage to kill him right now. The Juggernaut Omnislash, not quite what you want it to be. And also, everything was just a bit awkward, right? Like, Quinn still dies too easily. Like, they have nothing to save him, especially when the Bane is dead and can't sleep him. So he just kind of melts.
And now EG, they're happy to just wait for next Roche and start playing things, I imagine, for them a little bit more clinically, right? This is always how EG has tended to play in a lot of their Division 1 NA games during the DPC leagues, kind of establish an early lead from the lanes. Of course, this one not really too much of a blossoming lead, only really up to 2k, but has in the past couple of minutes now gone up to 6k. Take over the map control and just take things cleanly and slowly here.
Yeah, no, very comfortable here. As we said, they got the outpost now, so they have complete control of Dire Jungle. Roche is spawning in 20 seconds. So it's going to be very hard to contest this. Running through all the Hawks, the wards.
I think a big shift here eventually is going to be when Yawar gets this Eye of Scotty online for his Juggernaut. Of course, that move and attack speed slow versus a Drow Ranger, allowing you to break her marksmanship passive. It's going to help a lot. But Arteezy's got a couple tools to defend against that one already, right? The Shadow Blade, so you can join fights from awkward angles, maybe even get a pick off here, as EG have been keen to start their fights that way. Hurricane Pike as well. Right, to increase the gap.
Yeah.
There's some problematic items here already.
Yeah, I don't see them contesting this Roche. It should almost already be dead, right? It's very quick.
It's gone down way too fast. Quinn, in the meantime, at least down bottom, pushing the tower, has finished up the money, or has accumulated the money, I should say, for his complete Acceptor. So his Nihilism now online does make him immune from physical damage.
Yeah.
Offer him a decent amount of protection in these fights, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm just still a little confused how he's supposed to play this. He has to wait for all the big stuns to already be used, I feel. He has to join the fight a bit later.
To Fata, and he gets jumped up at again with the jump on and trampoline and killing him. Kill goes there towards Arteezy.
Oh, Mojo in the bottom lane. But keep it for him, he has haste.
Yeah, no running from this guy. Pulverize into the arrow setup. Spirit Vessel applied. Crit leaping in, and now that's onslaughting out. It's gonna end the life of MSS.
Yeah. Oh, EG are making this look easy right now.
Up 9K and getting ready probably to push high ground now already. Looks like their sight's not quite yet set on that tier 2 bottom. Sonics at least again with this brand new to them, Alesh Ag Scepter. Might be able to make a bit of a difference, but Yao are still only halfway towards his Eye of Scotty. Even a little bit less. Now he's about halfway.
Yeah. No, so like they're down a lot of gold, right? But at least both Yawar and Quinn have kind of kept up in farm. It's only this Beastmaster that's for some reason ballooned. It's like an old carry player playing offlane, right?
It's
just
true.
very
no.
fat.
Yeah, richest hero in the game by far. Has Blink BKB now, so nothing really obstructed him from reaching whoever his main target needs to be and finding that roar. It's been very effective at breaking apart these team fights. Leslau here, Lawless on the Magnus, having a bit of a difficult game, right? His first RP was used to simply escape a smoke gank. His second RP missed and ended up kind of drawing Sonics into a bad fight, and his third RP only catching Fly after he had dropped Tombstone and was already Flesh Golem.
Yeah, that one was a bit not very good.
It's been rough for him, but perhaps things are going to look a bit easier for them once they look to defend high ground and as their enemies choked into a bit more of a funnel for him.
Yeah. No, but at the end of the day, pushing this high ground might not be too easy. They have Skewer back, they have RP, like if you gather group up too much.
Fiend's Grip might still be quite effective, especially if you try to onslaught or even blink towards a Bane on the back lines if he's able to catch you.
Yeah.
You might be a bit too isolated for your allies to help you out.
Yeah, no, so Sonics have this problem now that no hero wants to get gone on first or kind of go first. But hopefully, like if Marcy can finish her BKB, that will help a lot. Because then she can just go in first and give vision. Because like it's not good when Fata gets killed first, right? Like you want him very far back. So he can grip this primal.
How viable is it to just like rely on the buyback, for example, of this Marcy, right? Which she does have. Can you like look to leverage that in these fights and just say, I'll go in, tank a couple spells, you know, draw them in, maybe we get a good RP, I'll buy back, and we take the fight from there? Is that like something you can start thinking about on those high ground defense, or is that...
I mean, on the high ground defense, for sure. You don't have a choice, right? They're pushing your base. But if the game was a little bit closer, yeah, they could have done that for the second Roche here.
Right.
That would have been a play for sure.
Yeah, unfortunately, like you highlighted, right, not having control of the outpost does make making a play like that a bit too difficult. Sonics, you're just smoke, and now even sneaking out of their base here. There's still Aegis for Arteezy for another 90 seconds now.
Yeah, so I feel like this is kind of what EG dream about, but let's see.
It's going to be the multi-shot. That'll at least reveal the Drow Ranger's presence. Abed doing a great job of breaking smokes. There's going to be vision, though. They skewer him away and into the hands of Yawar, but he doesn't make the jump immediately. Instead, there's going to be a grip onto Nightfall. Interrupted, though, as Abed blinks forward with the Pulverize. Fata just dead. The RP from Lawless and his dying breath does at least allow Yawar to get off a bit of an Omni-Slash, but the damage isn't nearly sufficient. They only get through crit there. But it's Arteezy who stands his ground and fights. 3 kills for him. He was untouched in that team fight.
Yeah, just standing on the high ground, spitting arrows. And now you just give them an easy high ground, right?
They'll seem to be that way. Couple buybacks ready to go for Sonics. They do have a Fortify as well. But that Aegis still on Arteezy here for 40 seconds. So by the time that they respawn here, Pi, he's still going to be able to stand on his high ground. Look at his attack speed already. My goodness, that Inner Beast aura.
Yeah, Inner Beast, he got Vladimir aura, Marksmanship giving 62 agility. Yeah, that stuff is just melting here.
Down it goes near the bottom, perhaps even mid lane of Barracks. Still the richest hero in the game, by the way, is Nightfall.
Yeah, I don't see. Okay, so maybe. All right, they'll relax a bit, but I feel like they could keep going. I guess the skewer is still scary, so there's no need to.
Another look at that fight there along the replay here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's just nothing hitting, right? Like at this point, Quinn is dealing a lot of damage here, but the 3 heroes do the delta split, right? And Drow Ranger ends up being too far away, and she just kills him in 3 hits.
Oh, an effort there. Oh, Arteezy in trouble, actually. Quinn, oh, he gets the 4-step up to the high ground. Can they find the sun in time?
No way.
Not from Quinn. The Gust is going to prevent him from canceling the TP. Would have been a massive opening there for Sonics, who did time that nicely with the Aegis expiring. Arteezy finds himself out of a pickle there.
Oh yeah, that's very unfortunate. You really need that kill. Other news though, Fata has collected 6 healing salves. It's quite impressive.
See, is he holding the shovel? Yes, he
Yeah.
is. Also, curiously enough, he's holding on to this Medallion of Courage and is building into Solar Crest. Not an item I see a whole lot these days, but I suppose when it's all eggs on the jug basket right now, it's a very valuable item, especially efficient for how much it costs.
I don't know if I would say so. That's the one thing about Drow Ranger, right? She kind of pierces through armor. So I guess he's just been so poor, so he's just, as you said, just trying to get anything going.
Yeah.
Maybe a Glimmer Cape would be better, so it would be harder for the Primal to get on top of him.
Yeah. I'm just, I'm out here trying to fight for these support items. Solar Crest, I agree with you, is not the most impressive item these days. It had a stint where it was cheap and incredibly effective, and everyone bought it every game, even on offlaners. But ever since then, it's been a little bit more ignored, despite having a really nice build-up. Medallion gives a lot of what supports want in the early game.
Yeah.
It's just not that useful of an active.
Yeah. So EG are just in a position now, right, where they get to farm way more, and they can just wait for Roche. So all the pressure is on Sonics. And they really need to... Yeah, okay, so we get a little pause here. So they really need this Magnus to... I don't know, like that earlier fight, right? Because he does get the skewer on Primal Beast, but he needs to somehow land the RP. And they needed to burst the Primal before he got to pop BKB. Like, that was their only hope to win a fight there. But unfortunately, he like skewered him into creeps into Juggernaut, so he couldn't Omni Slash, and everything was just a bit awkward.
I mean, okay, so they've got to kill Abed basically using the Lash, right? Because I don't see another way. I don't know. I mean, maybe not with Scotty. There's a way that Jug, if he gets a solo Omni Slash, can get the job done, but this is such a tanky Primal Beast.
Oh yeah,
especially
with the
now
Shivas.
He's got Shivas. Yeah, he's got so much armor.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, Quinn. Well, there's going to be maybe a kill set up onto him. No arrow, but Fly is here to assist at least with a little bit more damage. But from the backs and diving here goes Arteezy. He gets 2 kills just like that. Down goes Ellis. A third is well picked off as evil geniuses surround, dividing and conquering. The last to go here is going to be Yawa, who's bouncing around, and the Omni Slash comes out with the spin, but he's not going to last long here. He's got a lot of move speed at least. Might be able to escape a bit more, but no. EG, they've got the mobility items, and they've got the advantage. It's going to be Sonics who lose game 1 here to Evil Geniuses, who open up their TI group stage on a win. Just game 1.
Yeah. They did make it look easy. I think Sonics, they had... Like, there was a period there where they were looking like they had a shot, but they never got anything going, right?
And Nightfall with a very impressive game, I have to say, right? Abed and Nightfall, I think, to me, were absolutely standout performers this time around, kind of making moves and setting things up. I think the supports as well from EG kind of rotating. It was really Sonics in the early game that were rotating and getting a lot of work done, but EG just able to kind of outfight Sonics every single opportunity that kind of appeared here in this game 1.
Yeah, you can definitely see the Beastmaster last pick, right? Making a huge difference. Just the Hawks for vision, the roar through BKB, like it was very difficult for Sonics to team fight.
Yeah, didn't look so great for them, unfortunately. 21-6 in 32 minutes. So Sonics not getting a whole lot out from there. Even though we really did like that Magnus, or sorry, we were concerned for the Magnus, right? And we liked the moves that they made, even getting an early pickup onto Arteezy. Just didn't really end up continuing to go their way. So we'll look at maybe quite a crucial fight here, right, for Sonics.
No, this was a very unfortunate fight for them. Like, obviously you could see they messed everything up, and then, like, they still had a chance to save it, but the Magnus tried. Like, 2 people already failed. The Magnus went in to try as well, but losing this fight, I think, made the game from almost a 50-50 or 60-40 to like an 80-20 in like percentage to win there. Because it's set up for the Roche, and they got the outpost.
Yeah, no, exactly. And just good patience for Evil Geniuses there in that fight, especially, right? Just waiting behind in that one, and making sure they're not being too overzealous at making a big jump in or anything like that.
And yeah, here you could see when he skewers the Primal. This is, like, this game was very hard at this point, but somehow he needed to RP him and skewer him towards the Lesh. Even then, though, like, this was a very hard fight. Aegis, Hawks, Vision, but yeah.
Yeah, Crit with a good job in that fight as well, which is something I just picked up on now, doing a great job just getting on top of Quinn and just being otherwise annoying, stopping him from really getting on top of the targets he needs to get on as soon as their BKB wears off. This is, of course, the last little fight with EG just kind of encircling not Quincy Crew, but Sonics, who unfortunately just don't have really much to fight with at this stage.
Yeah, no, that's just the 20k net worth Beastmaster. It's very difficult fight. You saw the Magnus try to go in, but he just got insta-hexed. Like the enemy Beastmaster has Blink Dagger, BKB, Helm of Overlord, Scythe of Device, and you have Blink Dagger, Flat Falcon Blade on your Magnus. It's not fair.
Yeah. It's going to be an EG victory in Game 1. Things to look forward to in Game 2. What do you think? Are we going to see any adjustments on the draft here, or did you think there was just a couple of fights go a bit differently and Sonic still have a very good shot in this game? Where are you seeing this?
No, I'm just curious if you have to be more careful with the Lesh right. No, I think the Lesh should still be okay. I'm just wondering about their off lane there. It did, like, the lane itself went better than expected, but yeah, I mean, it's also like first pick versus second pick. It's that EG are really good at countering lanes, so they just got very good hero matchups, right? You need to somehow, if you end up with these picks again, you need to have a stronger lane somewhere, because the only winning lane was their mid lane, right? And both side lanes were difficult, and the Beastmaster lane was very difficult. So like maybe the game would have been different if they banned Beastmaster, perhaps. Something like that.
Just noticing 2 deathless heroes, right? Nightfall 5-0 and 12, and Fly on the perfect support game, Undying, right? 0-0 15.
No, that's impressive.
So well played for him. Yeah, extremely impressive. But yeah, I think EG, just with the map movements in the early game, they did well to kind of neutralize. And yeah, MVP, right? There it is. 0-0 and 15. What a stat. A KDA here on Fly. Well done, sir. But the map movements, especially by EG, I think, to me, they did a lot of work to neutralize the early game of the Lush. They definitely identified this Lush as a lot of damage. Abed even took, well, Abed got first blood, but I believe he died twice in the first 10 minutes of the game, right, on that Primal Beast. And from there, they just kind of played around him. They played very patiently, crit with some good warding, scouting wherever Quinn was hoping to play around, and they just did well to avoid him. And from there, the Lesh just never felt like he could get too much of an impact in the game.
No, yeah, for sure. Another problem for the Lesh, right, to see he couldn't just play with any of his other cores, like the Juggernaut at a Midas. And yeah, maybe earlier they somehow could have done something with the Magnus, but EG just got such an early Roche, right? And it's very difficult to run into this Undying. Yeah, it seemed like a very difficult game to play.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to go to a quick break, guys, but when we come back, we're going to see what Sonics are going to have in store for EG in game number 2. But at the break, it's EG that leads Sonics 1-0. We'll see you soon. Still ended up the richest hero of the game for, well, of course, his team, but also the entire game, quite naturally. Managing to outfarm RTZ, some great map movements from him, and just pushing right times, right places. Sure, he lost plenty of ancient creeps, but ultimately nothing too major and no big mistakes from him. He played a really clean and amazing game.
No, that's what you want when you give your off lane last pick, right? Like, he does what you expect of him in lane, and then, yeah, he basically carries the game.
See here how they look to draft as well accordingly. I believe it was an 8th pick with Leshrac last time around, wasn't it, for Quinn? Do you think he's going to be given the same amount of priority here? Will they look to last pick as hero now that I think he actually has last pick?
If they have last pick, perhaps they might do that, because that would be the easy change here for Sonics, to just not allow EG to have this last pick and then the last pick in the second phase too. Because I think that ended up making the game extra difficult. It's just very hard lane matchups for them.
Didn't look super easy, so we're about to get started now with draft number 2. You can see clairvoyance as well. Plenty of papers, a couple of ideas maybe, things that have looked better against EG if they did scrim in the past or had scrimmed in the run-up to this tournament. Well, now it's time to put those new ideas to practice. Got to be a little bit of a frustrating game for Yawar, as we did appear. We caught a glimpse of him there on screen, as just never felt like, yeah, he gets his Eye of Scotty, but never still really felt super comfortable in those fights. You can tell his last Omni Slash just, was very much an I'm helping Omni Slash.
Yeah. No, you're about to go out. I want to see what this does. Didn't do very much, unfortunately, but was a nice try, I guess. It's just one of those classics when you have to play Juggernaut into Beastmaster. The lane goes as expected. You're down like 1k gold at 10 minutes from where you should be. And then, yeah, there's not a lot of space on the map for you to farm. You go Midas and your team is losing, so you just never get to do anything the entire game.
Yep. Yeah, I really thought it was going to be looking a little bit better there, especially as we did highlight that the Magnus lane went a bit better than we anticipated in the draft.
Yeah.
Some heads-up adjustments there by Sonics to make that happen, and even with some nice moves to assist Quinn in that mid lane matchup to get a couple kills, but unfortunately it just seemed like from the mid-game, nothing really panned out for Sonics, and that's where EG felt most comfortable, right? They really did not make a single mistake, it felt like, once the mid-game started off.
No, they played it very... I wouldn't say safe, you're right. They stuck together a lot. Like, they removed a bit of their own farm, but they also choked out Quincy heavily. Like, you could see them roaming around a lot, right? Even using a few smokes to try to catch something. But they didn't have blink on any hero, right? So usually Sonic just ran away. But yeah, they choked out the map, they kept up their farm, and they got every Roche. And then they capitalized when Sonics made a mistake. And basically won the game from there.
Yeah. And they looked real good as well, as we are just getting resettled into our new lobby here. Should be only a couple moments away from our next draft. You can see Fly as well flipping through the pages. Looks like that's a prepared notebook as well. So plenty of things for EG. Lots of pages in store, as he's going to show us a dramatic side shot of those. There's no leaks here on the mainstream, but eager to see what EG actually have in mind, right? Because I mean, let's acknowledge the elephant in the room, or perhaps more aptly, the elephant in the Twitch chat, right? This is a team that has historically been known to kind of go back to the same old heroes time and time again. I mean, sure, it's not this year, right? But we'll all remember last year's DPC season, where it was the Abed Storm Spirit 5 games in a row and a couple of grand finals, right?
Yeah, no, I fully expect them to pick Primal Beast mid every chance they get. Because I feel like in their eyes they believe the hero doesn't really lose any matchup that badly, and then yeah, he just gives you initiation, he gives you a decent amount of team fight, so like I don't see why they wouldn't be drafting that here. They can also flex it to offlane, right? So the same way like T1 used it, so it seems very strong.
Quinn, at least he's showing us maybe a little bit more of a sleeper hero for him, prefers his spellcasters. Like that Lesh we saw him on. Maybe we'll see him break out the Ember Spirit as well. Was catching a couple of, yesterday some pre-TI scrims and saw Quinn absolutely demolish a couple of pubs on his Ember. So that's still looking certainly as strong as ever, especially if the game looks good for it. But there's, of course, the man, the brains behind EG. seeing what he has in mind. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, this Primal hero looks pretty bonkers right now, especially if other heroes are going to rise to prominence in the first phase of banning. For example, like Clockwork, Morphling, SF, previously in our series. Enigma, of course, were, I believe, the first 4 opening bans. But yeah, it does put these really high-tier heroes first up, right? This Undying Primal, which EG got both their hands on last time. Is this Sonics? Do you think they need to adjust for it a little bit, or maybe even block pick the Primal, or is it just something they just have to deal with and hope that their strats they prepared are enough?
No, I think they could. I felt pretty comfortable with how like the first 2 picks worked out. Like getting the Marcy and Aleshrock versus Primal and Undying. I think that's a decent trade. I think you're okay with that. It's just later, like it's a bit of a greedy thing, right? The Juggernaut, when you don't have last pick, like the Juggernaut and Magnus, and they got kind of punished for that. They couldn't find any fights.
All right, so we're going to see now what the opening is for Sonics and for EG alike, as we are going to get underway with our second draft here momentarily. Sonics this time with last pick on Radiant, and Evil Geniuses with first pick on Dire. So this time around, it's going to be Sonics that get the opportunity to respond with picks 2 and 3 in their order. Last time, EG, that's where they got to pick up their pretty deadly combo of Undying Primal.
Yeah. But yeah, so let's see what Sonics give them for first pick then. I wonder how EG rate everything. If they believe Mars is number 1, or like if they would want a Primal or perhaps Enigma over that. You said that Nightfall loved Enigma, right? Okay, never mind. They banned it.
No, they ban it. Yeah, they ban it. Yeah, I've seen him play a few games on it when I have tuned in late enough here into the wee hours in the Southeast Asian time zones to catch their NA matches. But there's the Primal ban from Sonics. They're wasting no time, so this is looking like a little bit more of an opening banning stage from the LCQs. Maybe like a Marcy and an Undying to follow would be something we've historically seen as the LCQs wrapped up. Of course, EG have shown us they've been keen to ban different things, and this is a somewhat different draft approach, right? When you have first pick compared to when you have second pick. So they are coming at this from a slightly different angle.
Yeah, they do ban the same heroes, right? This Enigma Clockwork, same as game 1, yeah. Sonic's changing it up. No, but then like first pick, like a Primal is very nice to have, right? Flexible, he can both be support and core, and it lets you respond more. Because you'll see like 3 picks, right? And then you kind of have to decide. But yeah, no Primal, no Marcy. So yeah, let's see if they just get this Undying.
Still open for Evil Geniuses. But Sonics with some fairly standard bans. It's only EG who throw a little bit of a wrench in the clockworks here. And there's the Undying pick, as you were suggesting. Oh.
Yeah, nothing too surprising, right? You can actually, yeah, we've seen it a bit, right? You could just put it in as the offlaner. It's not bad. You can also play it as position 4. It works as well. So, but most likely, right, they'll be Fly playing this.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a safe bet. Especially if you're drafting against it. But maybe something to still keep in mind, that offlane Undying can solo Roche, at some stage of the game with the Ag Shard. So it's something to keep your mind on, so you're not going to be caught off guard. But already, of course, Sonic's paying much attention to the pick. An opening lane Alina, for them is going to be the pick. Might be Flex as a support, might be a carry. This hero has changed a little bit with the new Acceptor as well, giving you the opportunity to play more as a spellcaster. So this is still a little bit of a flexible pick, but either way, it's going to dispatch of Tombstone very nicely, and then they pair it with the Tusk for even more physical damage.
Yeah, no, I forgot about Tusk, right? He was also one of the very popular heroes in the Last Chance qualifier. And yes, you said Lina. Usually Quinn, he loves that hero, so most likely him playing it, right? But you could flex it to carry as well. Probably want to see a bit more.
Yeah, and just a quick note, EG's last bans were slightly different. They didn't ban the Enigma, they actually banned Morphling and Clockwork.
Oh yeah, true.
And Sonics banned the Enigma and SF. So SF still in the pool. That was a first phase ban that Sonics considered against them. I'm not sure if that's something you necessarily want to 8th pick here for EG, but you would get the 3 bans to protect it. So it might be something they look for.
Yeah, they could. It's not the best to pick into Lina, so maybe they'll leave it, but yeah, no, they go for the Invoker instead.
All right, that's always a treat here for Abed, heading mid lane onto the Invoker. Of course, still a couple more bans to protect this, but we're likely looking to set up a couple other lanes with some confidence, knowing that if you do face Lina, that's a matchup you're mostly okay with. Quaswex burning a lot of that mana early does leave Lina a little bit less of a scary hero to lane against, right, when she doesn't have the spells to work off of, but yeah, a good pick here from EG.
Yeah. Now he also removed the, what do they call her soul, her attack speed stacks.
Yep. You know, it's funny here, Pa, is EG might end up banning the same next 3 heroes. I could see it very easily for them. The Visage is the exact same ban, and then they proceeded to take out Faceless Void and Broodmother. Makes a lot of sense against an Invoker as well, that Broodmother ban.
Yeah, yeah, and Undying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's probably why they banned it. Because this guy, Leslau, he, I believe he plays a bit of Broodmother.
Yeah, he plays a lot of disgusting heroes, for sure.
Yeah, that's like yeah, a lot of creatures, right? Like Lycans, Broodmother, Nature's Prophet.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. He doesn't mind the micro. Maybe that's something they're preparing with. The Sonics look to ban out the Shaker, which does open... Shaker is commonly seen as kind of a guard, right? If you pick him, he's a guard against some illusion heroes, because you never really feel too confident playing a PL or a Naga Siren or even a TB into this guy who can kind of just one-shot you.
No, for sure. Oh yeah, now it all makes sense, their bans here. Yeah, they're actually banning for their Undying. Okay. I was because it's the same with Visage, right? He can be quite annoying for Undying in lane. Same with the Broodmother and those type of heroes. Yeah.
Yeah, this is something that when I was casting a lot with Winter a couple years ago when I first moved out here to KO, that he kind of explained like this concept of, you know, why are you banning for position 5, right? That doesn't seem to make a lot of sense on its surface. Why don't you ban for the carry? You know, back then it was a lot of Timber Saw, and you needed to protect your Timber and make sure Timber could win you the lane, because he's the guy that won you the early game. That's when Timber was super imba and busted. But now it's Undying, right? And the story hasn't changed much. If you give Undying an early game, if you give him a way and a lane that he can actually impart some impact on, he can enable almost any other condition in your draft. And that seems to be a much better strategy and a much better a way to approach your laning setup, you know.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, and now they're banning AA, so I'm guessing they're setting up for a morph thing. But
like it.
I'm guessing Sonics will ban that out.
Well, looks like a pretty reasonable response. EG, though, is still missing someone that can make the jump onto Lina. Shaker could have been that hero as well. So, you know, Sonic's paying a bit of attention to both of those. Shaker, especially with a fissure early, can really easily gank at like a minute 4, 6, or 8 rune spawn. And that can kind of ruin Alina's laning stage. He's a little bit more vulnerable to stuff like that. But something as well that I consider here, because the Undying doesn't feel super amazing when he tries to gank Alina. He's nice as like a +1, right? If you're already kind of going for an attempt, but doesn't do too much against her.
Yeah. Yeah, the morph ban. Yeah, so we can think about crit tears, right? He can still do the Mirana again. It's quite hard for a Tusk to lock her down. He can jump out of the shards, right? He also loves playing Earth Spirit, so maybe they'll think about that hero. So those are the 2 heroes I'm considering. Because Coswex, at least early, right, is probably what you do versus Lina. When you're Invoker in this type of game. Let's suspect. And EG actually banned out the Naga. It's quite curious.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that one's totally about either. Not a hero I've seen a ton of. We've seen a bit of Wildcard pull out the Sammy Boy position 5 Naga, and it looked okay, you know, in that game. It certainly turned my head. I ended up winning them that series, I think, versus Vici Gaming in the LCQs.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a hero I've seen a whole lot of, as there's the SF ban for Sonics. They'll take that one out all the same.
Yeah, so we need EG to get, yeah, as you said, someone who can initiate, someone who can get in, get on top. That could either be RTC, that could be crit, maybe both of them.
Yeah, just trying to... Oh, well, we'll see another pick here. The Disruptor, okay, from Sonics. He's a hero that's been seeing a lot more play, actually, in Dota 2 Pro Tracker. He's been really popping up in a lot of the position 5s that I've been kind of researching in on. What is it about this hero you think gives him his strength? Obviously, Glimpse is nice and he does more damage early, but is he really just all about that static storm and eventually the Ag Scepter upgrade?
I mean, that's definitely helps to have something for later on in the game that makes you super strong. But yeah, as you said, like he's a good laner, he has long range, right? Long attack range, and he has a little nuke, so he can harass. So it's very flexible in lane. And now he's a bit stronger because he gets that added damage from the glimpse that they changed in this past patch. So he deals a bit more damage early, which is nice too. But this is looking like a VP draft, right? This is exactly what they would pick: Lina, Tusk, Disruptor, or Navi.
There's the Broodmother. So EG are gonna pick it up. That's. I think that does explain the Naga Siren ban. I was going to bring this up, but that's a lane that I think Naga does really well in with the Riptide minus armor and Near Illusions. Broodmother gets beat back like crazy. And a Broodmother that does not have a lane here, Pi, that's not very much of a scary spider.
No, for sure. It's most likely offlane, right? I think that's what people played, especially when you have an Invoker. And yeah, I'm a little confused what you're supposed to pick as a carry against this. You said that, yeah, the Naga makes sense, but obviously they banned it out. Like before, you used to be able to pick like a Kunkka, stuff like that, but it doesn't really work anymore because he's not about the spiders like that early anymore.
Yeah,
he gets that
damage.
Yeah, he gets that lifesteal, right? And he just hits you.
I'm wondering, might you consider something like a CK? It brings some similar things. You have a stun to disengage if you need to. You have Reality Rift, which is some minus armor, and then of course your own Chaos Strike. What is it? Chaos? I forgot what the crit name is. But that gives you a little bit of trading potential as well. I'm not sure exactly if that's something what you want to run, but you know, just thinking about what Naga Siren does to this matchup against the Broodmother, trying to find parity in that hero.
Yeah. Yeah, perhaps.
I'm not sure. I'm not totally sure what you want to run with either, because again, like you're saying, it's not about spiders. You don't want to like necessarily go Sven and cleave spiderlings, right?
Yeah, I mean the thing is, you need like 1 or 2 heroes in your lineup to clear up the spiders, but doesn't necessarily have to be the carry. Yeah, so they just ignore it and go Slark. Which I mean the lane should be okay, not great. He can at least dispel that little web so he doesn't miss. But then they're gonna need something off lane that can go and clear up these spiderlings. Because right now they have enough stuns, right? That's an important part to have. Like you would think Disruptor is really bad versus Brood, but it's actually not that bad. Because you can go for with these gank squads and glimpse him back and trap him and just kill him.
Right. Kind of punish these high mobility heroes by just simply glimpsing them, right? You got to maintain vision. But that's maybe something your offlaner can help you a little bit with. And speaking of offlaners that can clear spiderlings, right? And provide maybe just a little bit more team fights is maybe what Sonics are lacking. I think this EG band's a heads up one with that Tidehunter. He's being removed for the pool. Someone, of course, that can just anchor smash and clear spiderlings. The damage resist as well, or the damage reduction would be pretty mean against a Brood who does need to lifesteal to actually fight. And of course, some more team fight with that Ravage being removed. And a similar story, I think, here with that Pango, another hero that does the same.
Yeah, that Pango is probably a really good ban. Because the issue here, right, is, yeah, they ban the Tide. You want these Tide Mars heroes, but Undying is very strong against them. So you're in a bit of a pickle there. Because I want to be honest, like if this Broodmother goes for some Wraith Pact or something, it's going to be very difficult to like gank her. She's going to have heroes behind her. She's going to be tanky. And yeah, it's not an easy job.
There's going to be lots of things on your screen as well here between Undying Tombstone Zombies, a bunch of Spiderlings, right? You know, if there's an Illusion hero in the game, then that also might get messy. These are going to be looking like really chaotic team fights, I have to say, at least from what EG is proposing. But they need a little bit more team fight right now. Right? They've got like only Tombstone really, and I guess Invoker to back them up for their fights. But their solo kill squad is looking really quite strong for EG. But I think both teams needing to round out with maybe a bit of team fight. The problem is for EG, they need a carry, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to...
no, but I actually feel like EG might have stronger team fight right now with the Tombstone, and like I think the Broodmother builds like a team fighter, so she will have a Wraith Pact. And right now, Sonics don't have that type of hero that gets a Wraith Pact. And this Invoker is most likely to be slightly more utility. I'm assuming he will not be like no boots Midas Rush this game.
Right. So Lesh ban as well from Sonics.
Yeah, no, I was actually thinking about that. Like, do you want to pick the Lesh here? Because you don't have, like, if the game keeps going on and on and on, you don't have this hero that deals with Slark. Yeah, what do you go for here on EG?
Sonic's
Go for like a
turn to
punch or something? Okay, they just go for a Terrorblade.
Okay, so still very much your late game win condition. How does that fare versus the Slark? And generally, illusion heroes against him do just fine, I think, right?
Yeah, it depends on the farm, right? Like he can't really,
10
like if the Slark wants to get
seconds
away, he can get away.
Mhm.
But at the same time, like if you're pushing high ground or you're going for an
5
objective, the
seconds
Slark
remaining.
doesn't really have a choice, right? And then it can be hard to fight into this Tombstone and 6 illusions from Terrorblade with Skadi. So it's a decent pick.
Sonics, some team fight, something to maybe get a Wraith back, something to do with Spiderlings. For them, it's going to be the Mars.
they went
as you
Mars.
said.
Your
Yeah.
heroes.
But you had concerns about that. You brought that up earlier, and then you kind of brushed it off as saying, but that doesn't feel great into this Undying. Once again, it's 2 games in a row where this first pick Undying seems to kind of sow discord in this Sonic's laning stage, especially.
No, for sure. And this time too, yeah, they have this melee 4. Maybe they'll do the same thing, put him safe lane. But I think they'll just do the Tuskar Mars off lane, right? And then I feel like an Undying has just a really good time burst that. And just Terrorblade by himself too, like, should be very farmed. So I feel like they have a bit of similar problems that they had the first game in that lane.
Could you possibly look to do some laning shenanigans here for Sonics if you can maybe
10
run Mars
seconds
into
remaining.
the Broodmother? I can't imagine that's something EG are going to allow to
5
happen, but
seconds
might we
remaining.
see some kind of musical lanes here this time around from Sonics to really avoid that Undying matchup?
You could try. I personally don't think it's worth it, because I don't feel like the Slark has a great matchup versus the Terrorblade Undying.
Right.
But maybe they like value that if they try lane, like they're stronger. But I'm not so sure. So I feel like we'll have standard lanes, but you're right. They could try for something like that.
All right. We're gonna get back into the action here shortly for Sonics versus Evil Geniuses. But once again, I think the story of the draft here is the first pick Undying for Evil Geniuses. I mean, you know, like we said earlier, they're a team that certainly once they like their heroes, they're gonna pick their heroes, and I think the Fly Undying is going to be a combo to look out for here against Evil Geniuses moving forward in the tournament, especially if it does as well as we think it might do here in the laning stage of game number 2.
Yeah. Now after we've seen both drafts completed, I wonder if it would have been wise to just instantly pick up that Visage or something when you see Undying. But we'll see.
Here we shall. Game number 2 going to start here very shortly. Just best of 2s, of course, for the group stage. Couple extra matches, of course, this year with the inclusion of the 2 LCQ teams. That does, of course, mean that 2 teams eliminated from the group stage. Still very early on to start thinking about elimination, but it's never too early to start getting more points for your eventual playoff run. So I'm sure EG are going to be, of course, battling hard for this second game as well. And Sonics in a position where they're going to want to equalize, starting at least on a draw for your TI group stage and get that momentum going.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely don't want a repeat of game 1. That's for sure. At least they won't run into that level 1 fight, because EG, I mean, actually they could, I guess. They're still this Undying, but the rest of the heroes are not quite as strong. But I hope they learned their lesson. No 5-man upper ramp.
Up the double ramp as well, right? So once you go up those specific ramps, you don't really have any vision at all. The enemies have really great vision over you.
Yeah. And now they have the Slark too. They see a bit more.
That's right. Yeah. He's got the same day and night vision. This fishy man. For Yawer, what are we thinking here is the build for him this game? Maybe like a diffusal? Does it need to be a little bit of a faster fighter here for Sonics?
Diffusal.
So again, his lane is likely versus the Broodmother, right? So I'm like, what do you do?
No, I mean, I think the lane should be okay, right? Like
Okay.
Helios farm. It'll start getting tough when Broodmother hits 6, of course, but before then it should be fine.
30
There's, of
seconds
course,
to go.
Broodmother doing her thing. Just kind of avoiding conflicts up on the cliff, on the side. About to maybe trying to draw him into a fight. But Sonics, I think, are going to likely cede the high ground here and move back to just get their own ward.
Yeah. No, the only item I'm sure he'll go is Aghanim, right? But the rest is like, some people still go for Echo Saber. As you said, some people go Diffusal. And some people go that, whatever the item is called that reduces magic damage.
Mage Slayer, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Also gives you a fair amount of magic resist as well. I think it's like 30% now. It gives you on top of your base 25, so can be really good for survivability against some higher magic damage lineups. But yeah, I'm eager as well what he's going to want to go for. And builds into Bloodthorn down the line. So it is an item that can scale for you, as runes will go 2 apiece. Nothing too crazy here from Sonics. They've, as you say, learned their lesson from game 1.
Yeah, I'm really curious too if Quinn will go for that magic Lina, because he can definitely blow up Terrorblade later on in the game. So maybe he'll be the counter.
And it feels like it's probably a little bit easier to deal with a Spiderling army knocking out one of your towers, right, with magic damage, not having to, stand there and click individual spiders down and hope for the Maelstrom procs.
Yeah.
Radiant's courier
RTC
has
sniping a
been
little
killed.
courier there. Nice, nice, nice.
Nice move from him. As you said, lanes are going to be fairly standard here. Nothing super crazy. It is MSS who's missing from that left picture on your screen because he's actually pulling the creep wave on over. Fly doing the same, though, so the creep's being taken on a bit of a field trip through the dire jungle right now.
Yeah. This is always so clowny. Like, you don't know who's gaining from this.
It does time out Arteezy's Metamorphosis, but I think they were expecting this because he did get still a lot of utility out of the first cast.
Yeah. So I think this is pretty good for Sonics. Oh, okay, this is I don't know, maybe this is smart by Fly? Because he wants to be here hitting this Mars, right?
Right.
But they will get the way behind the tower and deny. So yeah, I mean, it's just... We'll see who loses the most out of this. It's always hard to tell.
So what's the thought process behind doing these lane shenanigans here? If you can help me understand it a bit better. MSS, he's going to intercept the wave, so he wants to deny basically this whole wave away, right? And Arteezy just wants to farm closer to tower. Is that the gist of it?
I mean, the wave pulling definitely it comes from like they have all the, like they get to decide if it happens or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, their idea is just they don't want to sit in the lane here 2-on-2 when last hit and deny and harass because it doesn't favor them. So. They're just gonna try to pull the wave, and whatever happens, happens.
Got it. So it's kind of Sonic's way of dealing with almost this undying, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
I'm a little confused though. MSS just pulled it into the tower now, so it pushed out. So yeah, let's see what they have planned there.
They've doubled up on the range creeps here. Arteezy doing a decent job at still claiming these. Fly, of course, has his stash. He's got a mango stash, probably to go with his avocado stash. Making sure that he's got plenty of mana to continue harassing. Hanging on to that second skill point as they are fighting a little bit down bottom, where we see that first glimpse doing a little bit of damage from Fata.
Yep. Max damage 150. But yeah, I've never seen anyone get that level 1.
Yeah, especially with the minuscule cast range enemies don't have mobility items. It's not too likely here.
Yeah.
Sonics, I think they're preparing top lane for what is going to be the second cast here, Metamorphosis. I don't know if Arteezy wants to wait for that second level in it. No, I doubt it, as down goes the Tombstone here right at level 2. Pretty good shards there as MSS likely forces the harass onto himself instead. Arteezy's going to oblige him, and there's the damage with the reflection. Liz maybe still in some trouble, but I don't think Arteezy can go dive in this early.
Yes. So RTC missed a few CS there because of Undying Zombies pushing out the wave, but overall probably worth it.
Yeah, you seemed a little bit surprised at how aggressive and how much damage they were doing there.
Yeah, those last few hits on the Tusk are always like the 16 or whatever, 12 strength stolen with Undying, 100 attack, like base attack by Terrorblade. Yeah, it's a lot.
Mid lane going Quinn favored here early on, 22-7 compared to 16-3. Just to check up on what the mid lane status is. Abed making haste towards his Urn of Shadows. We'll see and keep our eyes on what Quinn is going to queue up, because that'll let us know early if he doesn't want to go for this physical or magic damage build. What's like the first item that kind of delineates between the two that we should look out for here?
I mean, usually if they queue up some arcane boots, then you know for sure that it's magic. But he can also just go travels anyway, and then you don't know until he completes everything.
He has the option of keeping it a bit more open for himself. As you said, down bottom as well. It's getting a little difficult now. Quincy, make that Sonics forced to farm a bit underneath their tower. You can see the Slark doing the best he can here. He's going to get jumped though, and has the pounce ready to get out of there with the stick charges, but that's just about all his HP and all his regen. Fata can only offer him a couple of tangos.
Is he running back to base here? Wow.
Looks like it.
I'm a bit surprised too how hard this lane is for them. I mean, you gotta be honest, like, Nightfall is an extremely strong laner.
Yeah.
I mean, and Crit is nothing to scoff at either. So maybe getting slightly outplayed here.
It's looked difficult. Anytime I have looked down bottom, you know, Slark is able to trade eventually with Assassinship, but Nightfall's doing a good job of making sure he's only directly trading with Insatiable Hunger.
Yeah.
That Silicon Bola, the little web as you called it in the draft as well, giving that miss rate does need to be dispelled. So you can kind of just force that at a whim, and then Rubik feels really strong because you can reduce the damage with Fade Bolts, and then the trades just feel horrendous.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, I see it here now.
Yeah. The glimpse, yeah, and you could see the Sonics, they're not eager for this lane. I mean, the glimpse back, incredibly preemptive there, right? They leap away, and glimpse, they don't want to be trading here for good reason.
Yeah, no, I wonder if he's ever played Slark vs. Brood before. Because, like, you kind of have to listen to your carry here. Like, what can you play here? Like, what's good?
Top lane, I believe this is the third meta they get popped. This is missing a bit of strength here, and Arteezy wants this kill, finds himself skewered, however, to the tower. Shard's now doing a bit of damage to him, but MSS, has he gotten a little bit too cheeky here? No, he's just doing a good job getting some return damage into Arteezy.
Yeah. Nah, I mean, you should be very worried for Sonics right now. Like, I just looked up, and they were 2k gold up. Both side lanes are... They're going even more poorly than game 1, right? Like game 1, their rotations were on point, so they managed to keep even in net worth. Okay. Oh, no, I thought it was Sonics, but it's EG.
Yeah, it is EG. It's EG picking up a kill there, 2 straight now unanswered. Onto the top lane, I believe, as Lellis is going to take a dive.
Yeah.
There's a support missing from the bottom lane, and that's because Crit, of course, assisted there. He might look to rotate mid now. He's a little bit late for 6 minutes, of course. Didn't see who that rune quite went to. But he's going to find MSS now skirmishing with him.
Yeah, no, and now it's just very tough. Like, the difference from game 1, they have this Leshrac mid who can rotate. But now you just have a Lina with no mana mid. So, like, what can Quinn do? Nothing, right? He can only sit there and farm.
And Rubik, very much one of these laners that tends to be a little bit more lower impact for 4s as far as laning stage goes, like, you know, helping his 3, right? You can see Nightfall doing a decent job of holding his own, but I think Crit's going to end up rotating on back. But what Rubik does do effectively, much like an Earth Spirit or an Earth Shaker, is this rotation game can be very strong, right? We saw what that impacted in top lane for a second kill onto Lellis to continue accelerating Arteezy's game. But he's back now bottom to support Nightfall a bit more.
Yeah. No, you can't underestimate him in lane either, though, for sure. He has a lot of armor, high damage, and a nuke that deals. Okay. Who's down there? Yeah, MSS down there.
Sneaking on over. There's Silicon Bola, and still a pretty easy kill onto Fata. Trapped inside the kinetic field, though, and now leashed up with the bonus damage on the tag team. It's Yawar, who at least trades away Nightfall this time, his first stack of the permanent Agi.
Oh, that's huge for him. 'Cause if he can hit 6 here, like, life will feel way better.
Life's not feeling too right, though, for Quinn, who unfortunately, while both his supports are ganking bottom, he's going to be unable to contest the rune. Fly shows up and secures a DD for Abed. But it's okay. Quinn has the bottle refill courtesy of Fata, so not too much lost.
Yeah. No, but Abed is kind of shutting him down mid here, right? Together with the supports. Supports gathering the runes, and Abed just burning his mana.
Once again, it's Arteezy who being left a little bit alone by Fly. I mean, not in a bad way. Now I think they're confident Arteezy has enough armor, enough levels here. Level 6 already ready for him to be able to kind of sustain on his own a bit easier. Rotate between the jungle and lane for the next couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Fata, though, he'll get out of here. He's got a good observer ward down that'll at least prevent him from dying.
Yeah, now Broodmother is 6. Spiders are coming online. Yeah, Slark has to get out of here.
He's going to TP mid, where they might look for a play onto Abed. They're going to actually hit the stun on the LSA. Oh, in trouble and dead is Abed. No wand charges, and even Fly taking a point in the soul rip, but doesn't matter much. MSS has the kill, like you say, with the ice shards. Looking for the +1 now as they go behind the tier 1 tower, and will collect a second kill to equalize at 3 apiece here. Sonics still making some nice moves. 4 heroes mid, but it's well worth it.
Yeah, no, okay, he's going top here.
Yeah, it's Arteezy onto Lellis.
Oh
Lellis with the spear back. Ooh, the illusions. It gets actually back into meta form. He needs to break vision and maybe look for a TP out. Only has the bracer. The wand's completely empty. The illusions caught him now. Can Lellis make it out alive here? Breaks down another tree. Wasting a lot of time of Arteezy here. And the spear back as well is going to prevent the illusion from getting the kill. They're going to catch Fata. Another illusion spawn. Lellis on those way out will make it out alive.
Nice.
Mid lane, though. They're
no,
going to be
the
skirmishing
rune.
over this rune. Arcane into the inventory, active now for Abed, but Quinn, he's being jumped, fly onto him with the cold snap. Not really doing enough, but Abed here can cover himself with the Ghost Walk. Quinn still alive, ticking down to earn 8 strength missing. They get the vision, allows the Fade Bolt to come through, and Abed collects the kill. Crit now stuck on the high ground. Well, not for long. Nothing really to hold him there, and it's just going to be a death there for Quinn.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say you need these miracle kills with your Slark TPing mid, killing Invoker, getting a Tombstone last hit. But it's just the game is hard, right? The Nightfall is just free farming with his Broodmother, going for this Wraith Pact as we talked about earlier. And yeah, the pressure's on. Look mid. Damn.
Oh, just another kill there on Thoughts. Tombstone as well, put down quite aggressively. That is a level 2 Tombstone for Fly. And they still have the wagon here to support. So this could be a serious tower siege coming now from Sonics. You can see, or sorry, coming at Sonics from EG. You can see them starting to really set up maybe to look for a defense. But I'm not sure. It's going to be a little hard here with the Tombstone still there.
Yeah, and I'm also a bit worried for Fata. I think that MSS ate the Tome. And Fata is now a level 5 Disruptor. With no ultimate. So, and I don't know, we might be looking at a 14-minute level 6 Disruptor here, which is really bad. Yeah, he's smoking, but he's not level 6, so it's just very weak.
2-2-1 as we'll cut to the jungle to see Arteezy get stomped by the Stompy Camp. But he's well out of the way of this gank, which is what, of course, our observer was showing us. Fata as well can't prevent the Sunder from coming out. Arteezy, he's not holding on to his skill points. He has committed all 8 skill points. He's approaching his 9th. But right now, approaching the mid lane with some force is going to be Nightfall and the Spiderling army. You have to be careful that Quinn doesn't get a bunch of free gold off of that. And he is going for BOTs first, almost has enough gold for it. So not really revealing his hand yet as far as to what build he's going to go for.
Yeah. No, I'm still looking at Fat there. He needs to get a lane somewhere. Like, you cannot play this hero and be level 5. Like, you do nothing.
Uh-oh. And they've actually surrounded Quinn. Arteezy's here as well. Oh, down goes Quinn. And no one from Sonic's unfortunately in the area. Arteezy's going to farm some enemy Ancients. This also is going to really put a question mark onto the push that Sonic's had going here against that tier 1 tower as Arteezy TP's back.
Okay, he doesn't have Sunder, but so maybe they could. It's still so hard to kill him. So
He's got the skill
hard.
point now at least. He's holding on to it. Doesn't really have a lot of mana to go around, but...
And like whenever anything's happening, right? Like maybe a standoff or something like that. Like no heroes farming. Like Nightfall is always down here, farming everything.
Yep.
Oh
Setting
yeah,
up
highest
the
net worth
Spiderling.
again, right?
Yep.
Just like last game.
Quite easily here. I wonder if he's like going to bother to block camps and whatever with these Spiderlings as well. That he's just kind of shotgunning across the map. You can see one being eaten by Quinn there. Not really sure. I guess he's just kind of scouting. He's going to recall those Spiderlings now. It was like a Spiderling Requiem of Soul or something like that for Vision from Nightfall.
Yeah. Very frustrating to play against when you're already down. Like you can't make any move. Okay, here we go.
Oh, here they go. Oh, well, who's going to go on who, though? Quinn took up a few Spiderlings, and MSS is getting a couple more. Not bad. That'll at least push him back.
No, so Sonic's basically, they have no place here. The Fata is still level 5, and he's actually not even close to level 6. Oh, this is... He needs level 6 anywhere.
Yeah, he's going to smoke again. Maybe, as he does at least have another one ready in the inventory. BKB's second item now for Quinn. Maybe indicative more of a physical damage, Lena, here. Is that still enough for you to make a call on that?
Yeah, I would assume he's normal. Right-click Lina. Unfortunately for him, he has no items, so...
Yeah. Not much to play off. The item, though, for Yawar is on its way here with this first item, Diffuser Blade. So this is what he's going to go for, of course, after the Falcon Blade itself.
No, but you can't even describe how much stronger EG are right now.
Uh-oh. Light doesn't get off the Tombstone here, and won't live either. Just a little bit too much physical damage. Abed is going to sweep up at least MSS with a Tornado, Spiderling, Spirit Vessel, Urn, Cold Snap, an easy kill there onto the Tusk, as well as has Arena of Blood. Has a bunch of enemies diving him. Nightfall even is going to spit down a bunch of webs here just to get on over to the fight. Has a full Wraith Pact operating, by the way.
Yep. Oh, they're pinging Roche. No way. No.
So kind of just conceding the position right now, letting the creeps tickle his tier 1 tower. It's EG just farming the triangle.
All right, Fata is 6 at least. Thank
There
God.
it is. He's done it.
Radiant's top tower is under
Static
attack.
Storm. Might be enough to turn something here. At least it might dissuade Arteezy from getting too aggressive, who has committed now for the point in Sunder at level 10.
Yeah, and at least since Nightfall left the bottom lane, Slark is getting to farm a lot now, so that feels way better.
Fusel coming soon here. Just needs that little wolf. And now it's on its way being fetched from the core. But EG they are doing Roche here.
Yeah, and contesting this, oof, I don't know. You would need to land some amazing arena and Static
Yeah.
Storm. I think it's too difficult.
And it's already too late there at that pipe. Down it goes. Stone as well, really helping that one out. And they even want to fight. There's a little bit left here, I want to say. Yeah, half duration still on Metamorphosis. EG just running into a fight. They're going to scout 3. And there goes the Static Storm combo. The Arena of Blood as well. They've caught Abed in here, but they're going to be focused down onto Arteezy.
Yeah.
That means Arteezy is dead. Aegis is on Abed. So it's something here. Yawar as well showing up to fight for a bit, but they do manage to save someone with the glimpse, but it's Nightfall with 2 kills onto Lelis and MSS.
Yeah, RTC a little cocky there.
Radiant's top tower is
Maybe he even thought himself that he had Aegis. But,
I thought he had Aegis for a second, I won't lie by.
well, at the end of the day, it's not the biggest deal that he
Radiant's
dies there.
middle tower
It's
is
just gonna
under
come
attack.
back here, TP to Ancients and farm. So.
Well, look at that one again, right? He's just super aggressive and in their face.
Yeah,
Radiant's
you got the
top
heals
tower
and
is
stuff,
under
but yeah,
attack.
you're not living through every ultimate in the game if you don't have Aegis then. Maybe if the Wraith Pack was down there, but I feel like he's dead.
Top tower is under
And
attack.
even then, Aegis, especially first Aegis on TB, sometimes feels like Aegis for what? Like he respawns there but doesn't have meta, and it just kind of dies again on his second life.
Yeah.
He's definitely here. That Aegis feels a lot better when you're sieging high ground in melee form.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Right back though, as you say, ready to go. I think there's going to be a hood as well, coming on its way for Nightfall. I do wonder if that'll get upgraded into a full pipe, just for even more damage block early on. EG really putting their foot on the gas as they're sieging even a tier 2 tower. Sunstrike actually hits Fata.
Yeah. No, they scanned.
Yeah.
They just dropped the Sunstrike. Very nice.
Radiant's middle tower
Okay, so EGR, like you have 2 ways to play this now, right? Like either you push the towers as they're doing, or you try to outfarm them on the map. But they're kind of letting Sonics farm their whole entire jungle here,
Radiant's middle
for a tower.
has fallen.
which
Dire's
yeah,
bottom tower is under
I think it's
attack.
fine. They can take
Yeah.
the outpost now.
It gets Slark onto a tier 1 tower for Sonics. Maybe he farms one more time in the enemy triangle before TPing away, but AG already starting to sweep across the map here. You can see Sonics, they've done well to stay low. Well, mostly everyone. Fata, was
Yes,
that a
it-
gem?
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
no,
whose gem is... That's a kill there. Whose gem is that? Sorry, I didn't...
Abed has the gem, crit
Oh,
bought
okay,
it.
okay.
So they really
Alright.
want to shut down this map.
Yes, they do. EG is starting to... You know, I called it a bear hug, and it is a little bit of a bear hug, isn't it? It's already looking like EG want to cut eyes. Normally, that's, you know, the advantage you have with a Slark. You're able to always detect wards and play around vision, but it's been really difficult for him so far, especially when Nightfall farms, you know, almost everything on his side of the map. He's left with very little here.
Yeah. At least Sonics are kind of out on the map now. Like, they're not sitting in base with 5 heroes. Leslau is in the top lane, getting some creeps. Yawar is bottom, ready to farm.
Yeah, unfortunately, he'll be forced back, maybe into a fight. There's 2
Abed
heroes
is
showing
just going for
elsewhere.
it.
But he is going for it. Quinn, oh, a nice snowball save to avoid the EMP mana burn. Fata has a static storm, but is not even going to use the stake. Down he will go. MSS quickly to fall next. As EG just right now, I mean, it's just 2 support kills, but maybe some structural damage. They might look to go chipping at tier 3s with this Aegis.
Middle tower
yeah, yeah, they are. And Quinn is just traveled out. He just pieced out.
Here's Yawar.
Oh my
Spell
God.
already down to half HP. Yeah, he's
Oh,
just got
yeah,
a
yeah.
Shadow Dance. Wow.
Radiant's
Yeah, they don't even have RTs here. They don't care.
Oh.
Okay, now with the glyph, now it's time to care. But do
Time
they
to
want to
care.
go? It
Uh,
looks like they don't want to
they
give
wanna-
this up.
tower
They want to go. The full pipe of insight there for Nightfall, so they're going to be able to shrug off a lot of this magic damage now here, Pi. And maybe they keep going. Fata has to keep them from pushing high ground just with the kinetic field. That only lasts a couple of seconds here at level 1, and right back up to the high ground they go. Now Arteezy is here. He's
Yeah.
going to use meta. They're pushing Pi.
20 minutes in, hitting the racks.
Radiant's middle
Okay,
tower
I don't know. Let's see if they're gonna try for this fight there. They have arena.
Fortifies out, that's a new change. Every single time you lose a tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 tower, the first for it to fall, you get another Fortify. So another Fortify here, but the waves still continue to come in, so backdoor defense isn't here. And Sonics, they're just not going to fight this. There's 2 heroes pushing side waves in.
Yeah.
And that is a mid lane of barracks.
Has fallen.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be happy with this. Aegis times out, right? Yeah, it's about to time out to 20 seconds. Now they can farm a bit, go for the second Roche, and the game plan is very simple.
Well, this has Blink Dagger. Quinn has BKB. Feels like if you're gonna make a move, right as the Aegis expires, right as you know that there's no Metamorphosis, maybe now is the time.
Yeah.
Who you're gonna catch though is an entirely different question.
Yeah,
It's only Arteezy's illusions, of course.
It's tough to get that dream fight you want right now.
Oh, and
really
EG are looking, they're looking to pick a fight here too. They've got a ward down.
Oh,
They
yeah,
see Quinn.
Yeah.
Okay, but the arena from behind does allow at least Ellis to get the surprise jump in. Sunstrike raining on down. Oh, but a nice save there momentarily. Static Storm doing some decent work as Quinn. He's BKB'd up, but he's being forced out of this fight by Nightfall. A good glimpse will save him temporarily, as now back onto the EG backlines. It's not going so well for Sonics. They will stand their ground and fight.
I wonder if we get a replay on that. That was... Crit really played that fight well. I believe he stole Snowball, saved himself, and Fly.
Yeah.
And then through that, because they didn't have an RTC there. They're fighting 4 on 5 without Aegis.
Nope, you're right. There it is, right? And that's what confused me. I have to apologize for that. Because I saw a snowball, I saw 2 snowballs, and I got real confused. That's the second snowball that saves Fly.
But did he steal it? I don't even know. Or, no, because there's no Lotus Orb, right? He must have stolen it.
He must have stolen it, yeah.
Yeah. Because, yeah, so the mistake there is basically that Leslau misses his spear. Because this fight can be very different if they just insta-kill this Rubik. But he gets to live, and yeah, now the despair is just almost at 100%.
12k net worth lead already here, bubbling for EG. Arteezy not in the last fight, just casually farming. Probably didn't even look on over, honestly. Has a full eye of Scotty to show, and he is ready to continue pushing. Tier 2 is going to be the next target for them. Sonics are going to find maybe this double damage rune in the river. That's going to be some small victory for them.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure what you do here. Okay, I guess, okay, they have a few items coming up, so I guess you try to get those. They have Aghanim on Slark. And he's kind of close, yeah, kind of close to Shadowblade on Lina.
MSS is kind of close to Blink Dagger here. I mean, maybe not close enough to fight for this tier 3 tower, which
yeah,
EG
going high
are going to
ground.
go up to push.
Oh no, yeah, Lacquer did a creep.
Get him! Get him!
Strongest
Nice.
creep in history.
They need to Midas it or devour it to hide his shame.
And as the creep dies, the tier 3 tower falls.
Yep, down it goes. The Ice Shards, of course, not going to stop the Spiderlings from doing their thing. There's Slark. He's in, though. He's onto Arteezy. BK beat up his Quinn, but he's dying so fast. He's almost dead already. Down he goes. The arena not up in time. Static Storm at least might allow him to catch Arteezy here. He's still silenced up, but he's still fighting by. Gets the force F off. Gets the Sunder now as he continues to eat alive. The rest of Sonics retreating back into their base, but they're going to throw in the towel. This one's over, Pi.
Yeah. No, that was easy. They made it look so easy. Unfortunately, this game was even worse for Sonics than the first one. Like, the lanes went worse, and the EG is stuck to the script. Get Roche and push Hydra.
And Nightfall, what a series out for him, huh? I mean, first game dominating on the Beastmaster. Game 2, he gets the Broodmother in the second phase, and he's just kind of unstoppable here.
Yeah. No. Because a lot of criticism I feel Nightfall has gotten, or like when EG do poorly, they say, oh, Nightfall farms too much. But if you look at strong teams like OG, for example, like, is anyone complaining that Amar is farming too much? No. So like they just, I'm pretty sure they need to fix other stuff. And like they'll look like this versus even stronger teams.
For Sonics, though, it's a difficult way to kick off their group stage. You can see, obviously, a little bit of disappointment and upset with the way that one went. But for EG, it's all signs looking good for them. Laning stage, Draft, of course, getting their kind of heroes and their kind of matchups that they were looking to get for, especially with Flies on Dying, right? Some pretty major impacts in both of those early games. Crit as well with some nice plays. EG, so far so good, right? So I think definitely firing on many, if not all of their cylinders in this first series.
Yeah. No, I think, honestly, in both games, Sonics just had a rough time from the draft standpoint. Just playing these games, I think they were like under pressure from minute 1, and it was just hard. So I think they should look at the series and maybe copy a bit of what EG did. That might be an idea for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems like, especially like compared to Abed, like Quinn didn't really have much of much to do in this game, especially. The second game was really hard for him on the Lilina. He kind of just pushed waves, got BKB, and unfortunately still died to right-click damage. But game one especially, after laning stage, didn't really get to do too much on that Lesh. You know, so just something not really clicking together for Sonics in their first series versus EG, and they'll fall 0-2.
Yeah. No, they're very convincing. I'm looking forward to see. They're playing LGD and OG today too, right? So.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, EG with some pretty big games. We are going to be able to catch their LGD series here live on the stream. You and I are actually going to be casting that one in about 2 hours here after our following series, which is going to be a little bit of a different one. We'll get to that in a moment. But, I mean, EG, of course, you know, starting off with a win. The other teams that they're going to be facing, I don't know, LGD is playing now on one of the other streams, of which 5 we have running, by the way. So lots of Dota for you guys to tune into. Hopefully you're enjoying this game, even though EG did make it a real fast 2-0. But yeah, EG off to a great start. I imagine they're going to be heading into their next series. A difficult one, right? LGD historically have been quite a roadblock for EG to get through, right? Especially for Fly when he was on this EG roster last year. A bit of a different LGD still. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be an exciting one. But they head into that series with a win.
Yeah, no, there's nothing much to say except EG looked very impressive here. Game plan on point and play very strong as well.
Yeah, certainly. Looking at some beautiful heroes on our scoreboard in the back lines, the background. But it was, you know, just really solid stand-up performances from all the EG cores. I think Arteezy, you know, farming a lot on the game one on the Drow Ranger did have a little bit more of a difficult laning stage. But here you can see just a handful of deaths for everyone. This time it's Crit, the one to go deathless on his Rubik performance. Played amazing. Fly does die this time around, a bit more on the Undying. But yeah, why not Crit MVP, right? I think off of that snowball save did really seal the deal there for Sonics, right? Sure, a missed spear there, but certainly not made any easier by the stolen snowball and counter initiation provided by Crit.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, I didn't even know he never died. Like, he played a really good game. But you also got to shout out Nightfall a bit, like picking a Broodmother this early in the tournament and like decisively winning the game puts a lot of fear in other teams when you go up. Like that's one of like Huskar, Broodmother, those are the type of heroes that like create, what do you say, like ghosts in your head. Like you get scared. Like you're drafting and you're like, oh, should we ban the Brood? I don't know, ban the Brood. So that's it's very good to win an early game with Broodmother in a tournament like this.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, especially with so many matches going on, I imagine their opponents will be Xiaoba kind of keeping an eye on this series, making sure he's doing a bit of scouting right ahead of their series. But that's going to be something to consider. Are they going to go ahead and brood us again with all the other things to consider as well? Lots of things to consider, lots of things to break down. And fortunately, we've got a very lovely and talented panel. So over to Nat T and our panelists to break down so far what's happened today.
Outside of picks, though, going into how they actually executed and were able to play T-Panda, does it give you hope for EG? Are you looking forward to seeing what they have to bring? Again, it's only the first best of 2.
Yeah, exactly, like you said. First series of the day. I mean, I'm stumbling with my words here. It's a good start for the day. You know, you get a shuffle the 2-0 to start off. Picks are looking pretty decent. You know, you got a lot of meta heroes that have been played in the LCQ and in the regional qualifiers. In general, I mean, maybe I'll hope to see more Drow pick up because I feel like TB is a pretty contested hero right now, but I guess you guys can fill in more with the deets on that one.
Yeah, I mean, game 1, we saw it a little bit more back and forth, Kezu, rather than that game 2, which was really unfortunate for Sonics. You want to walk us through game 1?
Like, game one, I feel like the lanes didn't work out that well for Sonics, first of all. I think EG's draft was pretty nice, and the way they set up their stuff with the lanes, that they could, like, move forward and, like, do well with their Beastmaster, push forward top, and then some of the smokes actually didn't work out for EG at first, but then later we'll, you know, have a highlight where we're gonna look at a fight that kind of turned around, like, most of the whole game.
Yeah, I think the highlight is ready. If we can show it up on screen, you can walk us through just what happened.
Yeah, like here. So EG already ahead, and this is a crucial fight where they kind of mess up the sleep into the rebound, and then Lelis jumps in and he hesitates a little bit. And here, it just becomes somewhat of an easy fight for EG. They get the roar off, Abed goes in, he catches Quinn, who's one of the key targets in this fight. They catch him out, and now they kind of die. And EG only had a 2,000 gold lead at this point, but they're already ahead in this game, and I think for Sonics here, after they lose this fight, I feel like this just somewhat seals the deal for them, and then Nightfall had an insane performance on Beast, and they just walked away with the game.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely gonna have to agree with that. The Beastmaster was doing super well snowballing the laning stage. The only shot they had on Sonics was the farmed Lesh, but I think RTZ shut that down by once he purchased the shard on the Drow, the Bloodstone was kind of nullified there, and they just didn't have another avenue to come back.
Game 2, I think we also have the draft. T-Panda, if you wanted to give some thoughts on that one, why it felt so one-sided?
Well, I mean, draft-wise, when you're looking at like these invokers, brood mothers popping up from EG's side, Sonics, I guess like they were prepared with going for the Lina pick, for example. Slark versus TB is a pretty interesting matchup because it feels like it could go either way. Somewhat similar items and item timings as well, but I think TB just outfarms in the end. Plus, if Brood gets a good start for his early game, just takes away the map pretty efficiently from Sonics, and you never like to play behind as a Slark.
Yeah, like, just to quickly chime in, if you look at these two drafts, so Sonics are second pick. They're supposed to have the better lanes, but that did not work out. EG drafted very well. They have this Invoker. When you have Invoker, you want winning side lanes or side lanes that pressure. EG have a Brood Mother that will kick out the Slark eventually. Mars, with the last pick, is going to lose to the Terrorblade as well. So you have an Invoker who, like Abed, who can just run around freely as he wants to, because Sonics are going to lose their areas. They cannot protect it. And their last pick didn't really work out. I felt like they should pick Legion Commander. You can lane well, you amplify your other cores, you deal with Brood Mother. Kind of gives you like what you're looking for, but I mean, EG, they just look better.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of like a hard pick for them too, right? Like
Yeah.
you want to pick like the Legion, maybe a Darkseer, but it's Undying every game. Like
Yeah.
you have to lane some double strength cores into like this Undying hero, and you don't really have much of a shot. But you
Yeah.
can't ban everything right now, and when you're put in a situation like that for Sonics, it can be a little difficult, and it just didn't really work out for them.
Yeah.
There's not only this main stream, though. We do have a lot of series going on. There's 5 streams in total, so let's quickly run down and go through what is happening or has happened over on some other streams. We're going to start with the B stream, this RNG Liquid, and
Oh, boy.
only game 1 for you.
Yeah, this game was crazy. I think there was about 5 to 6 Roshan kills in this one. So
gosh.
RNG, they snowballed the game really well. Like their lineup was meant to. They got a Chen, Ursa. They got the first Aegis. It was like, all right, maybe Liquid's gonna lose this one. But Liquid's superior team fight in the mid game took over. They got Black Hole, they got RP, they got Requiem. Whereas RNG didn't really have much of that at all. So, but a lot of like, you know, there's a lot of mid game skirmishing, fighting. It went back and forth, back and forth. But at the end of the day, after like the 6th Roshan, Liquid with a superior team fight. They definitely took the game here. Obviously, they won the game, but it was a real barn burner.
Yeah. I mean, you got a player like Rubik on the other side, Kaka. I mean, you've got a lot of good ultis and spells to steal on Liquid's side, but do you get to use all of that and in the right time? That's a really high-stakes hero in this game.
I was looking at this one fight where Matu had like 80 Essence Shift stacks. I don't know if that one is still going to come up. I feel like it might. There were so many
was
fights.
right here, yeah.
It was right here? Yeah, he just basically gets to slap for like 50 seconds in a fight. He uses ult, keeps hitting, uses shard, keeps hitting. Yeah, it's going to be in this one where Ghost ends up with like 40 Essence Shift stacks, which is pretty insane this late in a game. Remember also he has Empower, so that stacks up like even more, and this was a pretty crazy game.
Yeah, and game 2 going on right now, so we don't actually know how that one's played out. That best of 2 going a little bit longer than here on the mainstream. Over on C, though, the Hikari LGD. That one was pretty interesting, T-Panda, because I think at, 20 minutes, Hikari was pushing the high ground for LGD?
Yeah, Hokori, I think like when you look at the draft that they have at hand, like Clockworks and Kunkas, Brewmasters, these are really, really good at kind of getting yourself a good laning stage and post-laning stage exit as well. They got a lot of kills for themselves, but Networth was breaking even at like 15 to 20 minutes. Like when we head to the mid-game part, Hokori, they get to push high ground at the top lane, but they couldn't really deal any building damage, which is, you know, you look at this lineup, you're like, hey, that would be easy racks if you can get like 2, 3, 4 kills from LGD, but they never did. And I think that's mainly also thanks to the good farming pace that Ame had on TB.
Yeah, like if you look at Hokori versus LGD, the game was somewhat even and Hokori were ahead, as T-Panda mentioned, but LGD's strength, they just make it so hard for you to like close out the game or get more ahead. And then they have this Ame Terrorblade who is supported by an Enigma, buffs, black holes and whatever else, and then eventually just becomes too much to deal with.
Yeah, since we've been highlighting a lot of these drafts, one that has been standing out for me is over on that D stream, Boom and OG. OG seem to be sort of in their own meta there, Kazu.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like if we look here, I mean, who's playing Oracle?
We've only seen it once in Last Chance Qualifiers.
And we did not like that one.
No.
So this one is looking a bit better. I think here, in terms of the draft, we've seen the Clockwork before against Primal Beast, so that's very good. You have the Razor for Amar, probably one of the only players who's still playing it. And then this Oracle. I think the answer is so it's good against Snap, of course, you mitigate the damage with your W. Against Primal Beast as well, you can W someone later on. In the lane, if you lane against him, you can root him to stop him from running with the trample. But overall, OG, you know, it just shows that they still have some of that, you know, TI championship mentality where you just play your own style.
Game 2 here as well. Do you feel like that is just another display fear of OG coming into their own meta?
I mean, yeah, it looks like Amar, he still has the same hero pool as when he entered the scene here on OG. And if you're an OG fan, you could be pretty happy for that, I think, because like they're just sticking to what they're good at, and that's kind of been always the OG way. Like just play what heroes are good at, regardless of the patch, and just make it work.
Yeah. They picked up game 1, so you know it's working, and it's proving right now, at least for the start, that it is working. Our final stream, though, that we have to catch up onto is GG versus Bet Boom T-Panda.
Yeah, that one started out with a shocker, right? I mean, the scoreline was 1-19. It was a 12K net worth lead
At
as well for
15
Bet Boom
minutes?
at 50 minutes. It was like, yeah, this game should be over. But if you pay attention to the draft as well, you'll notice the Hawk is actually playing Weaver against what? A lot of burst damage, Lockdown, Beastmaster, Tusk, Shadow Fiend, Invoker. This is like a great lineup against the Weaver in general, despite it being the 4th pick from Bet Boom. They could never get to the high ground. That was their biggest issue in this game. Even if Gaming Gladiators would have 1 or 2 kills, they would always try to cut their losses and try to play the map and buy time, because it worked out in the end. They turned the game around, they got that net worth lead on their side, and Bet Boom, they just felt like they have no tools whatsoever against them.
There's a lot that we could break down. There are so many more games to come. This is only the start, but we need to have a very quick look at the standings so you guys know how they're playing out. E.g. Sonics right now, the only best of 2 that has finished at this point in time. A lot of other teams still in the middle of their game 2. So that's it. Group A standings right there. GG, LGD, OG, and Liquid picking up their wins for themselves as well. For you guys, first series, how important is it? I want this to be the last question we talk about before we head on back into our next game, because I gotta know, especially from you, Fear and Kazu, what is that momentum? How does it feel for you mentally?
It's
Go ahead.
It's, I think, very important, especially for a lot of these teams. The first series, like, it's gonna give you the momentum boost, or the, you know, it's gonna put you back. I think the most important ones is your first one, and then like your series on the 2nd and 3rd day, because there you need to adapt.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely taking note of like players' reactions, and I kind of looked at the Sonics booth there after this, and definitely looks like they need a hard reset. They kind of got stomped 2-0, and yeah, I want to hope they keep their morale up, but just looking at that booth, there's a little bit of despair in there for now, but hopefully, going forward now, we'll just get like much better games, especially from Sonics. I expect way more from them. They can normally do much better versus a team like EG.
Yeah, and that's something we talked about earlier on, like at the start of the day as well. Like, you have to not focus on the small things and think about the big picture, and coaches and analysts step in there.
Yeah, going forward is what we must do, though, as we head into our second best of 2. It's Secret Thunder with Pilot Die and Seek and Strike again.
Thank you, Nat. Thank you, panel, as we are getting ready to start our second series here. Quick turnaround time here with 5 streams, with 5 best of 2s on the day. We're looking at an amount of Dota 2 that I cannot calculate thanks to my NA education. But Pi, I'm super excited to get started with our next stream here. Our next match, rather. It's going to be Secret taking on Thunder Awaken. Team Secret coming through first place in those last chance qualifiers. Thunder Awaken directly qualifying to the event. Pardon, they're the second team out of SA to do so. I believe they placed somewhere in the middle of the table as far as DPC points. But impressive performances, top 6 finish at the Stockholm Major, and then a little bit of a worse finish at Arlington. But certainly a team to be reckoned with.
Yeah, so like historically, if you would see this sort of matchup, you would obviously expect Secret to be huge favorites, right? Like it wouldn't even be a match really. But like throughout this year, they have honestly looked more impressive, right? Been
Yeah,
to every
absolutely.
major and like performed quite well. Now though, Secret just coming out of the last chance, as you said, looking really strong. So I think we're in for quite an interesting game.
With momentum. As you can see, Puppy, there he is.
Yeah.
His game face, ready to get going. Sure, he might be the oldest player in this TI, but you better bet with that age comes experience. His 11th TI. Hasn't missed a single one, this guy.
Yeah. No, and as he pointed out himself, taken every path, gone through qualifiers, qualified directly, and now going through the last chance.
Not directly invited back when that was the format, and has placed every single finish at TI. I hope this is not an ominous foreboding for Puppy. Wouldn't wish this for anyone involved in the tournament, of course. But the only place he hasn't finished is the new places, which are, of course, you know, what is this, 16th to 20th. He's placed everywhere though at TI. That was his feat he got last year. So he's been around the block a couple of times, and we'll see now how he is going to fare versus Thunder Awaken, who, as you say, are certainly going to be the favorites of SA at least. I don't know about the favorites in this matchup, but certainly not going to be discounted whatsoever. This is the team that has placed first throughout Tour 1, Tour 2, and Tour 3 of SA DPC. They've come in and have disrupted Beast Coast from probably being the #1 SA team. Beast Coast with a better showing most recently at the Arlington Major, but these guys overall have been beating them consistently in Tour 1, Tour 3, and Tour 2, of course. They did decently well, of course, as well at the ESL 1 Malaysia, which is going to be the most recent third-party event, where they once again lost to OG on main stage after OG went on to win the whole shebang. So not bad showings from them whatsoever. I think certainly a team to look out for, maybe a bit of a dark horse, but I think certainly one with plenty of potential, as of course that's not our draft. Our draft now just getting underway. Thunder Awaken on the Radiant side with last pick, and Secret kicking this one off on Dire with first pick.
Yeah. So for me, the games I've caught of Thunder Awaken, the guy who stands out the most to me is the Pakas, their carry player. Every time I watch him, I'm pretty amazed. Like he is, especially when he plays Monkey King or even Spectre, he somehow always manages to get a game. And when he plays Monkey King, he plays right on the edge, right? It's a lot of escapes, a lot of stunts, and he just plays it to perfection.
Let me tell you a little bit more about Pakas, because I think he is the rock for this team. As you'll notice, the other rock being banned is tiny, and that might be a little bit of a head scratcher for those that aren't so familiar with Thunder Awaken. But just mark my words, if Dark Mago ever gets a game off of Tiny, he's a little bit sink or swim on the hero, but I would say it's like 75 swim and 25 sink. And on his games where he gets Tiny, he makes all the space that his team needs him. He can basically carry them through the worst of early games. So that's definitely a respect ban there on the Tiny. But the scary thing about Pakas is that we're living in a Morphling patch, or at least the early beginnings of a Morphling patch. And they call Morphling for Pakas El Prohibido, which in Spanish means like the forbidden one. As in, you don't let Pakas play Morphling against you.
Okay.
And
Spooky.
again, yeah, that was back when Morphling was not top tier material. He seems like he's a bubbling S tier carry right now, this Morph.
No, for sure. And yeah, now the second series in a row where we see a team give up Mercy to instantly pick like what they believe to be some sort of counters.
Yeah, and the counters that Thunder select are this Omni Hoodwink. I think this is going to be the Omni 5 for Panda. Pardon me, he really likes his save heroes. The Abba being quite a big one for him. Oracle as well. He's a little bit like Insania on the heroes he likes to play in that regard. So I think Omni available for some dispels. Hoodwink as well is something that they played a little bit in SADPC in the tours, but I don't think I've seen it from them too recently. So I wonder if this is a different strategy. That's something, especially in the first phase, that's a little bit different to me.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why. I mean, I guess they played it a bunch in scrims and it's just a solid hero for the offlane. Like he supports the offlane well. Like he's definitely a strong laner, so it's just a comfort pick, I'm guessing. Not especially good versus Marcy.
And speaking of comfort picks, a couple bans here against Crystallis. That Monkey King, of course, being a big one. Another must ban, I think, against Dark Mago, at least when the hero is good, as it seems to be now, is this Bat Rider. That's another favorite of his. They can flex it over to Sacred in the offlane, but Dark Mago really likes to kind of run over games, as we see Matthew drafting for the team here. So the team surrounding them. I don't want to read too much into the you know, the non-verbal stuff. But it's interesting. The entire team just kind of standing around one PC, standing around the captain. A lot more teams prefer to sit in their chairs and, you know, kind of take it a little bit more easy. But for these guys, a different approach. Oh, and something I just want to say, because maybe there are people watching this team for the first time that are a little bit confused. This is not the same Thunder Predator that we saw last year, go 0-16 in groups. That team is currently kind of known as Tempest, and they did not manage to get out of LCQs. This is a completely different roster. They're old No Ping, if you kind of remember them from the Kiev Major. They've changed 3 of their players, so not really, but that's going to be kind of where Dark Mago and Panda, or you might recognize them from for you Dota fiends.
Yeah, good history lesson.
Okay, so last couple bans is going to be this Mars, mid and offlane flex for Thunder, who Thunder in turn going for another ban there on the Puppy Enchantress. Certainly a hero, the Enchantress that you know, but we've seen Puppy do a lot of great things on.
Yeah.
So they go for a lich. Is this, what is this? Is this a mid lich?
No, I would expect it to be either a mid hoodwink or offlane Omni Knight, but honestly, the most likely seems to be a mid hoodwink. We'll see though.
Okay, so that's going to be a little bit newer for Dark Mago. He's been really looking to change that his kind of his reputation is the best word for this, of being like a 3 to 4 hero, you know, pool spammer, if you can call that a pool. It was certainly a weakness of his back when he was on No Ping, but he's really taken a lot of strides this season to pick up the Mars especially. He's played a couple games on Tinker, so maybe be on the lookout for that. But yeah, maybe the Hoodwink is something that he's prepared and now is bringing you for us to break out on the group stage.
Yeah, because I would be a bit surprised if you pick offlane Omni Knight this early, especially into a Shadow Fiend, but I guess that's also possible, so we'll see soon. And I mean, Secretary is bringing out the ultimate meta of the last chance qualifier, right? Like getting everything anyone wanted in that qualifier. Like this
is for them.
Yeah.
That's what's been working for them, right? So I think they're continuing to kind of play their Dota, because they looked unbelievably good, actually, during the last chance qualifiers, especially towards the latter half. They looked amazing.
Yeah. This is probably the Resso offlane Mirana, I'm guessing. Carried a game with that.
Okay. I like the sound of that. We were hoping for a mid lane Mirana, or maybe expecting a mid lane Mirana for Abed. Last year's for EG didn't pan out. So I'm eager to see the Mirana in a core role.
Yeah, now I'm really curious how Thunder what they'll do with these 3 heroes. Like, well, what's the plan here?
Yeah, me too. They always have something in store. Generally, they do. What's been most impressive is that they've drafted really well for like their mid game, especially to me in the DPC tours. Like obviously being the top team in a region, you know, you generally some teams kind of get the EG experience, right, in the not so competitive regions, where you kind of just win your lanes and win all 3 games. But SA is not really like that. You very frequently had, in fact, I believe Thunder actually, they lost a team to this team called Wolf Team, who I think ended up getting relegated. So like that was one of the only series they lost this entire year. Beast Coast commonly loses to Infamous. Doesn't matter who's on Infamous, they just always lose to Infamous. So the region is still competitive in the Div 1, but they've always had a plan in mind here. Is they're always going to go, they're going to go back to the Flesh now.
Yeah. No, I'm still... So is it an offlane Omni Knight? I'm really curious to see what they'll do with this. What is this Hoodwink up to? What is she up to?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Again, as far as I know, I've never seen Dark Mago actually take the Hoodwink mid. So he's been practicing it.
It feels more like the Leshrac would be mid now, right?
Yeah.
And usually you don't pick Leshrac into like 2 range cores like this, like a Shadow Fiend and Mirana. Like because he'll just get hit running in, right? But you have this Omni Knight now, so you're just brute forcing it. Like you're just buffing him up and like go go go.
Yeah, and you've got what are you looking to dispel here? Because of course we've seen Omni Knight into Jakiro, right, giving tons of bonus strength and HP and regeneration off of those stacks. Nothing as crazy this game, but as you're saying, right, you just give raw HP to Lesh, a hero that just, you know, with mana can tear apart through anyone, and it's looking maybe like a recipe for success. You've got the ice armor as well to buff him up here, reduce the physical damage he is taking on the way in. So that's going to be a greatly aiding his survivability.
Yeah, I mean, a bit of a surprise though is because generally you don't pick Mirana into Abaddon or Omni Knight, right? Because he just removes your arrows. So like any setup into arrow, you'll just dispel it. But I'm guessing a core Mirana, it's more about the right clicks. So you don't care about the arrow as much. But I mean, it's still gonna be there. Like you think you got something brewing, you know? You get that 5-second arrow, and then Omni Knight just dispels it.
Okay, a Razor ban against Team Secret.
Yeah, Crystal is banned, I'm guessing.
Yep. A couple of respect bans thrown his way. He's certainly worked on expanding his hero pool as well. Crystal's kind of had this reputation, I would say, back when he was playing on Entity. Certainly when he was on Creep Wave, it was like Bloodseeker, Razor, or Monkey King almost every game, any opportunity. But of course, against the upper echelon of Dota, against those teams, it became a little bit too difficult to continue running that.
Yeah.
So I've also enjoyed seeing his growth as a carry here on Secret, especially. He's got a Chen to support him, likely. Gives you some lane push, lots of sustain as well. Decent lanes for Secret. Their lanes are looking genuinely pretty strong.
Yeah, I mean, I think yeah, it should just be Shadowfiend mid.
Mm-hmm.
And with Shen, you generally want a melee carry. A lot of stuff is banned out though, so I wonder what you go for here.
Yeah, Secret even taking the CK out of the pool as well with their final pick. Yeah, I'm not so sure either, because I think part of me is also not 100% sure what role this Omni. Well, I suppose he's got to be a core. Yeah, so it'll be Ursa then.
Okay, okay.
That's the melee core you were looking for.
It's a solid pickup. I was thinking you could go create maybe like an anti-mage, but yeah, it's not worth it. Kind of a bad hero.
Yeah, the panel was saying earlier, the AM's just always this hero that ends up kind of coming into the meta, you know, at some stage with a couple of games when the hero looks good. Almost the ultimate 1v5 support. Thunder. So they're in their last pick. That's their coach of Vintage.
Now we get to see what Bakas wants to play. Yeah, it's hard for me to predict. Like, this Hoodwink is really throwing a wrench into what... Like, versus Mirana, yeah, they banned it. Like, I like the CK. That was probably a very good ban. I wouldn't want to... I'm just thinking of his specialty heroes, right? Like, Monkey King is banned.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think... You don't want Spectre into this. It's a really bad pick. Could you do, like, a Sniper? Like, is that playable?
The Marcy presents some issues in lane, right? I think, but do you have a Lich to maybe help you out there?
Yeah.
You can interrupt with like maybe like a second or a third skill point into your Sinister Gaze, your interrupt, maybe?
No, I mean, because, yeah, preferably you would just want one of these melee heroes that can go, but I don't know if that hero exists here. Would you pick Slark into this? I don't know. PA, okay. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's a hero that generally gets to lane, right? She almost always gets a lane just off of the strength of Dagger. A hero that can look to farm and maybe take this a little bit late game. Is the evasion perhaps a big reason why they picked her into this Ursa, into this SF?
Yeah,
sure.
For sure. And she can also get on top of this Shadow Fiend and just go in. But you can also end up in a situation where you're just farming for your Battle Fury, maybe even have Battle Fury, and then Secret just group up with their Shen and start pushing down lanes, going for Roche, and you can't really help out. But yeah, okay, so we see now that Omni Knight is offlane, right? That's sacred?
Right. That is sacred, yep, that's correct. And it's going to be a Lush mid, and almost certainly I don't think they're going to try and innovate here. Yes, there's Bakaz locking in the Phantom Assassin. So that'll leave, of course, the position for Hoodwink. So this Omni Hoodwink lane.
Yeah, it's a very strong lane. I mean, I think Chen can do fine versus it. Like, if you get some creeps. I mean, and you would expect like Ursa, yeah, versus melee here or wow, but it's not as amazing as you like, because they can both spam spells on him, right? Both the Hoodwink and the Omni Knight. He can throw his little hammer, he can heal, and Hoodwink is always annoying, just hitting you, stunning you.
Yeah, I feel like that's generally been the weakness of Ursa's, right? And maybe why part of the reason why we saw the Battle Fury builds come to fruition a couple years ago is the hero sometimes struggles with regen in lane, right? You trade very effectively because, of course, of Fury swipes. But if enemies can just time out the Fury swipes and wait them out, especially if they can heal in the middle of your exchanges, you do start to usually run a little bit lower on HP. So that might be something that Thunder could look to take advantage of here. Lesh mid versus the SF. And then Pakaz going carry here into this Core Mirana, man. Tell me about this Core Mirana. Like, how does this hero be a little bit more active as an offlaner?
Like, that's not really your job, actually. Like, I thought maybe that's how you play it, but like every time I've seen a Core Mirana, they play it more like Amar would play it, you know? They have some items in mind that they want to get, and they kind of farm for that. So usually they go for like 1 or 2 Wraith Bands, like Power Treads, maybe Falcon Blade, so they have a lot of early stats, and they just right-click the carry in the face, make it difficult for him to lane. And obviously ganking him is kind of difficult with 3 leaps, especially for a Leshrac. So like that's usually how you play it.
All right, looking forward to see it then. Seeing a bit of the mid lane around. I think Toronto Tokyo started playing that a little bit last year, right? Leaping out of arenas back when that was a possibility. Of course, that's not something that you can do anymore. But certainly that evasion, right, on leap, or just the not quite the evasion, but your ability to leave fights and escape ganks, right, is going to be something strong. As there's a bit of skirmishing over the wards early on. Arrow does catch Sacred here, but that's a nice little acorn shot. Does bounce around. Oh, Nisha. Okay, there's 3 raises on a Matthew, but no one dead actually. And now Sacred and Pakaz running down Nisha. The dispose doesn't get him off the high ground, and that's first blood for Pakaz. Dark Mago is going to die. At least he didn't lose first blood. And Gristless as well, not looking like he's in a great position, stuck between 3 enemy heroes and a cliff. He chooses to jump down the cliff. It's not going to save him though. Matthew was waiting for him down there. Panda as well to fall. Zayats as well, still continuing here. What is this? 5 dead already before the horn. And I think we're not quite done yet. Rezo has taken arrow, so we actually cannot leap away. But I think Thunder are just about all out of catch. And that is quite the early game skirmish, huh?
Very intense, yeah. I wonder, maybe we can catch up here who got what. Like, who got the first blood there?
Thunder got first blood.
Pakaz got it, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty big. Oh, he already, what did he buy? He bought something. He probably gave it to his Lich. Okay, so you got an Orb of Venom. So he has Orb of Venom and completed Magic Wand. Okay, it's pretty strong.
Plenty of stats and, of course, the ability to trade a little bit more effectively. Always going to go a long way. There it is, the replay here. In we go. You could see, I thought Secret were going to do a lot better there after Nisha lands all 3 raises onto, feels like 2 or 3 heroes.
Yeah, Nisha felt that way too, because he could have done it even earlier, and eventually he was like fed up with it. He's like, whatever, I'm doing it. But this the tankiness from the Omni Knight W, he probably also dispelled some of that raises on the PA. So they were, and Lich spamming Frost Nova, like they were stronger than they expected.
Especially much tankier, just kind of running him down.
Lich getting caught out here, no TP scroll.
Down he goes. It's going to be a walk of shame back to the lane here. So it'll be Pakaz, who's a little bit lonely for now. Zayats did take that first point and dispose. Might be able to set up for a Sacred Arrow here. That Rezo's now got coming off cooldown. It will connect, but I don't think the right-click damage is just enough. And there's a full, well, not a full wand, but a 10 charge Magic Wand at the ready for Pakaz.
Very good, very good.
Nisha connecting his shadow races in the mid lane.
Yep.
The dispose. Yeah, actually, maybe onto Pakaz. Ooh, yeah.
There we have it. Marcy.
Wand charges the stuns. He didn't get the Fairy Fire out in time. Couldn't.
And I'm slightly curious about this. Like, I would expect this mid matchup to be very, like, quite annoying for Leshrac. Obviously not unplayable since you have this lightning spam. But it could be easy to get caught out here by a few too many races. And you just end up feeding.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, Lightning bounces, I think like 1 extra time now per level, which was a huge buff to this hero and a big, I think, reason why we're seeing him one of the bigger changes to Lush that's impacted his pick rate. But Puppey's got quite the creep top lane. I think that can be a little bit of a game changer, if not a lane changer. He's holding on to the Satyr Vanisher, right? It comes with this Purge, the Dispel, essentially, versus the Omni Knights, which is something that they could look to take advantage of here. I think Puppey's going to try and keep this one alive.
Yeah. You need more levels in Ursa here, though. Probably some boots before you can really play aggressive. Until then, they're just going to harass him, and he can't do much. But yeah, so far, everything looking good for Secret. Especially getting these kills on the safe lane. Pakaz and the Lich, Pandabu. Because the PA had this first blood, right? So he could have snowballed.
Uh-oh. I think he didn't mean to dispose him up the hill there. Panda, 2 bounties. 2 bounties at minute 3. No one picked those up. And Zayat would have otherwise had him if he didn't position himself and ended up disposing Panda up to the high ground. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Mid lane starting to be like a little bit of a lead for Nisha. I think no like surprises like we were talking about there between the Shadow Race's advantage. Just need to be careful to get a bit of harass, and otherwise has an empty bottle until the water runes show up. But it is Zayat who's rotating over maybe to contest here. Expecting a bit of a skirmish for the 4-minute rune.
Ooh, he's TPing for the bounty rune.
The bounty, yeah.
So Lestra cannot get it.
Nice play there. Zayat's going to be a little bit sore to see that.
Very annoying for Mago. But now we can also just stay mid here and help contest for the water rune. Yeah, they should not let Lestra get this.
So it'll be a big win, and he is going to need to get out. He's not going to take a death here. Dark Mago, of course, valuing his life over a little bit of a water bottle. Not that thirsty. But he is really lacking some mana, and without the mana, of course, it doesn't mean he can, or it means he cannot really trade or really harass the SF effectively.
Yeah, and now it's just a very difficult...
Top, Sacred.
Okay,
Die.
yeah. Yeah, the boots are up. When Ursa starts getting like 2 Infurious Wipes, right, the damage actually matters.
Dire's structures are fortified.
You're looking
this
for
is-
Pandam. Cannot get him.
It is kind of, as you say, or what if, I forgot what she said in draft, the Ursa into melee hero, haha, but it is sometimes just off of boots alone, you might be able to get a cheeky kill here or there, right?
Yeah, it used to be the way that just Ursa level 1, right? The Furious Wipes used to be way stronger. And you could just, I don't know, the lane was over for minute 1. But nowadays, like, you need a few levels in Ursa before you can really start putting pressure on.
Yeah, Puppey as well with that point in penitence, which is a great way to test if your pop filter is working, is doing, you know, he does make things a little bit scary here, right? Between overpower and that bonus attack speed, it is a rather easy kill there under someone like an Omni Knight. And he goes, that's without penitence, of course, and a bit of bonus HP, but up to 7 Fury swipes.
Yeah.
HP.
No, they're very comfortable on Secret right now. This game is looking very good.
Dire's middle tower
Dark
is
Mago,
under
he's
attack.
just been pretty much sitting on almost no mana this entire, well, for the past 2 minutes that we've been looking mid, maybe the entire lane. They are now looking to contest 6-minute runes here for Thunder. Panda does rotate on over. That'll leave Pakaz alone down bottom.
Yeah.
He's starting to take a bit of damage. 3 points here in Starstorm for Rezo.
Pakaz is the only one doing like really well. Both Leshrac and Omni are gonna struggle. Like there's no future in the top lane for Omni Knight, right? Like this lane is not getting better. Ursa picking up face boots. Shen
The
getting
rune
more
as
and more
well.
levels.
And the regen rune is going to be for Secret into the bottle for Nisha. So that'd be a nice one, of course, for Dark Mago to hold on to. But he's been restricted to basically ferrying out clarities here.
Yeah. Also, what they... I don't even know. Like, they could try to get some sort of kill on Shadowfiend, right? But that's not easy either.
Especially with Zayat's kind of idling around the mid lane for
Yeah.
now. Yeah, I mean, they can't really kill Rezo, can they? So, this is an arrow. Thought maybe that was going to connect on the Panda. But yeah, Rezo's just a very difficult kill as well. I mean, he's got Falcon Blade, Wraith Band, holding out to infused raindrops, and this maxed out wand. So he is quite tanky.
Yeah, no, he's just gonna sit there and try to get whatever farm he can, right? And whenever he sees the PAs alone, he's gonna go up there and right-click him as much as possible.
A leap now to level 2, so a little bit more of attack speed. Well, it doubles actually from level 1 to 2. Making sure you can get a little bit more effective there. As there's the one to actually pop that forces back Rezo. Or sorry, that forces back Panda is what I mean to say. Sacred as well, not having a really fun time top. There's going to be the overpower with the penitence. Oh, but Matthew in the vicinity. Crystallis was going to break the tree. Another tree planted from Matthew, but the bushwhack missed. That's Crystallis getting the kill. A front flip there on the corpse of Sacred.
Yeah. So that would perhaps be the chance if Leshra could get there somehow, but it's very, very difficult. He even had Enrage, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And so all Dark Mago can do is just a little stack at least. Matthew has made him. Matthew's going to head over mid and look to absorb some experience. Careful here, though. Could be trouble for Panda.
Yeah.
As he is going to be killed off. Likely will reveal the presence of that ward there, but for Secret, it's just, a much still, they're just padding the start, right, for Nisha.
And you can see Nisha actually just cleared up 2 stacks that Panda had made for his Leshrac, so. It's very well. Okay, finally he can get a rune here. Nice.
There it is. His bottle's not empty.
Yeah.
He's managed it. Oh, the Chan army. 2 small creeps, but honestly some pretty bad creeps for Thunder to be seeing. Puppey grabbed this early on, right? The Courser for basically almost a full pipe of Insight Aura, and the Satyr Banisher to purge off literally all of Omni Knights.
Yeah.
This one feels rough.
Baited up the Lich TP here.
Yep.
Oh, maybe they can get Puppey? Yeah, he kind of missed
there
my
they go.
there a little bit.
And he's going to die for that. Acorn shot is just about going to guarantee it.
Yeah.
On bottom, though, maybe now they make to look a move on Pakaz. We already see 2 heroes smoked for Secret Pakaz. He's going to be picked up by that ward placed behind the tower. He's going to go blur now. Hero, dodge. Pakaz is going to see Nisha. That'll trigger a TP in response, but Hero's just jumping right on top of him by no chance to escape. Now Mago is the only one to TP here, and he's almost already dead. I think he just dies. Has an illusion rune. Will he do anything with it? Disjoints it, but no, he dies all the same.
Yeah. Oh, it's I think he expected a TP from the Omni Knight as well, but Omni Knight's just dying top, I think.
Yeah, Crystallis is going to kill him there, and Crystallis is completely alone up in this top lane. Didn't even use Enrage.
No, because I clicked Omni Knight quickly, so I'm like, what the hell, dude? Help your team. But I think he had like 4-second cooldown left on TP when that all started.
Rough for him. Now the tower bottom taken by Secret. Already a 4K net worth lead here. Secret looking hot after coming through the LCQs.
Yeah. No, I'm because I don't know what I expected with this Leshrac, right? Because this is what I think would happen when you pick Leshrac into Shadow Fiend here and put them both mid. It's just not it's not easy. It is playable, but it's not easy at all.
Because he's already been booted to the top lane. He's at the Ring of Hell, but trying to get up towards his Battle Fury, as Matthew looks like he'll be able to evade death here, or will he dispose? Gets the Frost Armor, there's magic damage aplenty for Nisha. Yeah. Kill there for him is easy.
No, and Secret just have such an easy way to play now, right? Like, Resolution is under no pressure. Like, how do you kill him? If he has 2 leaps up, like, there's no way, right? Like, you need to, like, wrap on him heavily with, I don't even know. So he's just gonna sit down here and grab whatever farm he can. Crystallis is gonna finish whatever item makes him comfortable, and then they can either push towers together or they can go Roche. So looking extremely good for Secret.
Is that Puppey's mech already? No, okay, he still needs the chainmail. But he's getting there. Chainmail, one of the more expensive components in that mech. So he's getting there, though. He's getting there. And that'll be a really early mech. So even if Thunder are able to try and connect in a fight, being able to heal off a lot of this Lesh damage early on makes his game really difficult to play.
Yeah. I mean, they if Secret do mess up and they like try to dive mid, for example, with Thunder Awaken already, then they could potentially lose a fight, right? With this Omni Knight just healing Leshrac and him dishing out the damage. But they would need Guardian Angel for that, and he hasn't skilled that. He's only level 6.
Yep. And they need to make sure Puppey's not there to dispel. I think, yeah, he's still holding on to the Satyr Banisher. So that might be problematic. Not a good cast range on the Purge, though. So that's how it's balanced. So Puppey needs to get in there with his creeps, but might not have too much of a hard time, you know, if there's an Ursa and a Marcy and a Mirana leaping in, right? It does leave a lot of room for creeps to just follow up quite easily.
Yeah.
Kyle's coming along decently here. I mean, the Thunder, they do have some pretty decent pick-off potential. Of course, I think that's what Hoodwink gives you a ton of with this 550 damage nuke if you are able to stun someone up. I might be able to force some reactions as they're going to go into Dark Mago. They actually kind of got baited here. Okay, they've actually defeated the Centaur Stomper creep, but that's Nisha already with the Yule Scepter set up for the Requiem of Souls, the Hand of God, the mech, and plenty of heal. Secret barely taking a scratch there. I think they're just going to go straight into Roche. Christus already has Diffusal. Not like that'll help him much against Roche, but he doesn't need it when he's got a puppy here to buff him up. And of course, the Fury Stripes to take down Roche.
Yeah, and how do you fight? Lich is not even 6 yet.
No, it's starting to look really dire already for Thunder here. This is not great. As down goes Roche 12 minutes in. Already the age is here for Crystallis. Sacred still does not have his point in ulti, so he'll back only to level 7. He's keeping pace with Dark Mago, but it's kind of bad news for both, isn't it?
Yeah, they somehow need to stop the bleeding in goal. Like, they can't fall too far behind in net worth. Like, this is where it has to stop. And unfortunately, they haven't gotten that off-lane tower, right? Dire safe lane tower.
Yep.
So their map is very constricted. Because if they could like stop the bleeding here, keep it at 7k, they do have some timings where a Leshrac backed by an Omni Knight and a PA with Battlefield BKB
they
could win some
might
fights.
just kill Dark Mago here? I don't know. It'll be hard for Nisha without having the Requiem. Agency is on Ursa, but it's a measly level 2 split earth, so rather easily dodged there by Nisha. Now there's a smoke, actually. Crystallis is going to be joined by Zaya. That's Nisha trying to bait in the mid lane with the banners.
Let's see here if they can catch something. Omni Knight in the back here, perhaps?
Yep, there's the wrap, and they did scout this on the ward with the 2-man stun. They're going to be looking to nuke the Omni Knight. He's going to be able to get his heals off at the very least, and instead it might be Zayas who dies first with the mech heal from Puppey. Not enough. Sacred, though, still gets chased down and killed by Crystallis. As underneath tier 1 tower they go. Chain Frost mostly bouncing harmlessly to the creep waves as trying to get out of trouble here is Dark Mago, but he cannot run fast enough. Pig pole or not, Crystallis and Nisha will clean up.
No, that's the Chen coming in there together with just overwhelming net worth. Like that cloak aura, 15% magic resistance, and then a mech. Just reduces all the damage they deal there too much.
It's 100 damage done there by Dark Mago, at least something in return for him, but it's only a kill onto the position 4. The tower still falls. Pakaz, they might say, is still farming. So we'll take another look at that fight, but without Battle Fury, it's just not going to be fast enough.
Yeah, you can see there where in the Leshrac lands his, Dark Magul lands his stun there, 2 heroes, like, you start believing a little bit, but then all the heals come in, and the big net worth course of Secret, and they just clean up.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And yeah, it's just looking mighty difficult for them right now. Look at that. Ursa actually leading in terms of damage. That's how involved, and hero damage that is, right? To Crystallis even getting involved in a lot of these fights. And with BKB soon to come online, and again, still with Aegis for a full 2 minutes, he can play rather fearlessly, honestly. He's got Puppey to back him up with heals and mech.
Yep.
And a Marcy who can always just join him for the fight. And we haven't even, like, we've barely talked about Rezo. It's like he's been the carry this entire game. Oh, Rezo's still farming, you know?
Yeah.
He's barely left the bottom lane.
That's how he gets to play the nice role. He just farms bottom lane, and then when a fight starts, he usually keeps it in. He gets to decide.
Looking for Sacred, the stun. Oh, they've tossed him back with the dispose. Chain Frost bouncing around between the Puppey creeps. That might do some damage here, as they are controlling Crystallis rather nicely. He used Enrage already on the first life, as the Chain Frost bouncing almost actually gets him. Not quite enough damage, though, and now Rezo leaping on in, along with Zayas. The heal's not sufficient to keep the Lich alive. But Secret only getting the Lich there, and actually nearly losing Crystallis' Aegis is a small win for Thunder. Not enough, though. They probably still lose this tower.
Yeah, fortunately he has Aegis, right? They have a bunch of heals in this Shen. Yeah, look at the Puppey's creeps here. They're like the perfect aura creeps.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you get so much stronger. 15% magic resistance for everyone, 12% movement speed, 30% damage increase. Like, it's just, you're just so buffed.
The Soaker Frost Mage, of course, for some additional armor in case this PA dares to show up and try and fight you.
Yeah.
She really hates dealing with that
go.
kind of ability. They're just going for more. Dark Mago, he's almost dead. Oh, he is just dead. Panda and Sacred, they're going to be routed back into the base. The arrow from Rezo chasing them back in. Sacred does keep himself alive, but Secret, they're sieging already. First Aegis, 16 minutes into the game. They want to set the record here for fastest racks.
Yeah, well, what's stopping them? They can throw this little bushwhack, perhaps. And they have a Frost Shield coming up, so like all these glyphs are going to be annoying, but if Secret really want this, I don't see what's stopping them.
There goes the little bushwhack. Cross shield as well onto the tower, but down goes the first tier 3 of the game. Zions as well on his way on in. It's going to get Fiend's gripped. Make that Sinister gazed.
Yeah, look, like this Alpha Wolf just increases their damage so much.
And
okay, nice.
Here they go. Nice pushback onto 2. Does set up for a nice split Earth, but the mechanism heals out from Puppy. Hand of God, Zayats is out of there, but also down. The once is Chrysalis. He has Enrage. They might even still look to turn back and fight, but no. Looks like they're going to be playing this one a bit disciplined. Secret, perhaps looking for the reopening here. Nisha does have Requiem and Yules, and in he goes now onto 1. There's no GA. It was already used. The damage, and Dark Mago's dead. Oh my goodness. They get the tier 3 tower, the melee barracks, and a kill onto the mid laner before Secret are done with that siege.
Very well played.
Make that Pakaz at least. He's farmed up, right? He did get Battle Fury pretty much right after Roshan and the bottom tier 2 was taken. And has nearly the full Desolator up. But his game is just simply it's not looking easy. I mean, he's got quite the tall order ahead of him. He's facing down cores who have at least half an item ahead of him. As Sacred is dying in the mid lane, burning the mana, trying to keep himself alive. Frost Shield, but everything dispelled there by the Yule Scepter of Nisha, who has BKB, by the way, just looking for an opening to maybe use it. Secret playing a bit more restrained here without the Sages. Definitely know that in a couple kills here to Thunder could see them back in this game.
Yeah. I mean, Thunder's hope here, right, is that Secret kind of overcommit on one target.
Whoa, Rezo? Gone fishing with an arrow here that does catch Dark Mago. He's got 14 wand charges. Okay, and an Omni to back him, but that was... I mean, even that's just scary, man. He's just walking around his base.
Yeah, does he have a full... Yeah, it's a full Gleipnir coming out, so it's quite annoying.
Frost Shield, not going to protect the tier 2 tower. It'll go down. And, you know, the thing to look out for here is, of course, this SF's push is only going to get stronger here when he gets this 15 talent of minus, what, 6 armor? Minus, well, 6 up to 7 armor against structures, right? So that talent is going to be really speeding up the push. That's going to cut down the amount of time that Pakaz has to try and get his items online.
I mean, Pakaz deals very, like, he's quite strong right now. Like, if he just gets to hit. The problem is a lot of things can, not that many things, but some things can disrupt him. Like if he just gets caught by this Yule, by Shadow Fiend, he'll get one shot. But if his team can tank a bit here, like this, and he could come in, if Secret overcommit in a position like that, like he could clean up, potentially. Obviously it's very difficult when you're 13k gold behind, but there is a small possibility for this.
No, not completely out of it yet. Kaz is again now with queuing up BKB and Shard. Just with Deso now and Battle Fury, he's really gonna have to make a stand. I think with these items, as Thunder are gonna smoke out of the base just
I
before
like
the
this
Roshan
smoke.
could respawn.
They need to take this fight now. They need to find anything. Pakaz should come with them, and they should maybe even go more brave than this. Like just run into the jungle.
Oh, it's so hard though. I mean, you're now BKB for Ursa as well as SF, both on 9-second duration. I mean, I definitely agree. Like this, you have to make this move. Otherwise, I think you're just, you know, not so much. You're not making moves to win the game, right? So they need to get a way back in. It's simply how things are looking for them.
Unfortunately, I would have wished they got like at least some sort of ward out there. But they kind of smoke it to their own ancients and then run back. And now, now they're dying.
Yeah, mid lane. Down goes Matthew. They'll catch him there with the haste turn as well.
Got
It's
him
going to allow him to get a +1. It's going to be Panda. Arrow is going to miss from Rezo. Don't think it'll make too big of a difference here. Pi, yes, Panda. Yeah, plenty of arrows in flight there from Resolution. Down he goes. And it's a fast Rosh.
Yeah, it's only 30 seconds.
Secret, though, I think they're going to play this one calm, cool, and collected. Make sure that they're crossing their T's and dotting their I's. Setting up vision, taking down the tier 1 tower, making sure, of course, that they have their outpost, which they do. And they're going to go probably right in a Rosh. That second Aegis, of course, for Ursa. It's generally a big turning point here for Ursa in terms of how aggressive he can look to be.
Yeah, free Ag Shard, right? Yeah. And I think, Nisha is about to get Blink Dagger. So before now, Pakaz doesn't have BKB, right? So he can get solo killed by Nisha when he gets his Blink, like quite easily. So we might be looking at like Secret kind of faking a push and Nisha trying to find Pakaz.
There it is. Yep, Nisha with his blink online. There's a DD rune as well down bottom. Because, I mean, he's trying to find farm wherever, cutting these waves top lane, but the Secret might actually go out to hunt him now. And of course, Rezo with 2 ways to stop his TPs. Nisha with a couple.
Yeah, Russ has been clever here. Like, he expects Pakas to cut the wave, but Pakas he wants to win, so he has TPs out.
He does. Okay, Kaya's online for Dark Mago. We haven't really talked about this aspect of Kaya, but it does amp your spell lifesteal, which is, of course, what Bloodstone gives you. So, you know, again, this is an interaction we kind of only see with Lesh these days, at least in this tournament. 2 games so far of our 3 we've had on this main stream. We've had the Lesh with this build, but it's more survivability. Will it be enough? Double damage. Nisha might have something else to say about that, but who knows? If they can get the right jump here, Thunder might find themselves in a position to make a comeback. For now, it's Secret who are going to be pointing a quite scary cannon up to their base right now already. Second Roche, they're looking at least for their second pair of barracks.
Yeah. Yeah, so sometimes the Lesh Shark has to live for more than a few seconds here, because he can dish out a bunch of damage. It's not easy. Oh yeah, they think Pakas is over there farming, but he's just in base. Chilling.
Yeah. TP. I mean, it's a good move, right? Generally, you see enemy cores sneak into the enemy triangle, right? To try and find a little bit of farm when sieges like this occur. So Secret with a disciplined move here. And that buys enough time for Zayats, by the way, to get a BKB. So I think now you're fighting to 3 BKBs, if I'm counting correctly. Yep.
Yeah, and Wraith Pack completed on Puppet too.
My goodness. I think Rezo's not too far behind this unless he's going for a Deso with that Mithril Hammer. Nope, that's BKB as well. Well, he does have a Deso queued up.
Yeah. No, it's kind of up to Secret now how they want to...
Oh, Matthew, he's going to break this gank attempt. Trying to live a bit longer here, but yeah, Gleipnir is going to stop him in his tracks. He's cut down. Doesn't have buyback either for these 30 seconds. It's a whole wave that Secret can look to go pushing. Things are looking, I mean, still pretty hard. Pakas with another Ogre X is going to be slightly tankier here. He's even toggled actually off the Ring of Echola to make sure that he's not scouted on these creep waves.
Yeah.
Just any little thing that he can get to sneak out of the base just a bit more and maybe get that BKB online, maybe find some kind of miracle fight here for Thunder. But Secret, I mean, they got through the last chance qualifiers. They're kind of warmed up. And they got through the LCQs by not being, you know, too dangerous with this move. I mean, look at Dark Mago here. Arrow is at least tanked by a creep that's going to allow him to get off a couple extra spells, but Zayats insists here, pops the BKB. There's GA now used. And with that, I think Zayats is going to be forced to back up. Crystallis maybe looking for the jump in with his own Blink Dagger, but that'll be put on cooldown thanks to a little swift dagger thrown his way from Pakas.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, right? Like, that's 2 heroes, the position 3 and position 4, basically jumping into 5. And they don't really care, right? They're in no danger. But they use Guardian Angel, so maybe this
be an opening.
Yeah.
It's a big one for Crystallis, right? It's a big one as well for Nisha, who, yes, has a lot of control and can burst heroes, certainly with the ultimate, but the bulk of his damage is going to be done with these right clicks now. KB Yules, he is actually going for Arcane Blink as well, which, if you haven't seen, is a lovely, nearly instant animation and cast of Requiem of Souls.
Okay, Rest is gonna try to find Pakas here.
Oh, and Crystallis is in, but he does get interrupted.
Look at Pakas, look at Pakas.
Zayats walks in, Dark Mago's on in, but Pakas, he's going to be in some trouble. Rezo has caught him here, and Nisha's TP'd in, and that's the kill. No buyback either here onto Pakas.
And they're turning mid too.
And Crystallis still fighting through this one. Panda a bit too tanky for him, and that'll be the first life here. Secret likely just going to be able to reset, though, and allow Nisha to rejoin them. Some nice stuns, at least, from Dark Mago to slow the retreat here of Secrets. They'll be right back here onto the tier 3 tower in a moment's notice.
Yeah, okay, so they have Shame Frost. That's it.
Back door as well. It's going to be broken with the creeps running on in. There goes Zayats yet again onto Dark Mago. Disposed back into the hands of Crystals with a good Force Staff out. Requiem of Souls catching everyone. No chance for Sacred to dispel anything there. 4 dead for Thunder. Yeah. Crystals even popping the BKB there, of course, having already lost the Aegis, but that's mid barracks. That's probably top barracks. That's just GG. Matthew's going to call it. Secret dominating in game number 1 over Thunder.
Yeah. A very comfortable game for Secret. Yeah, I mean, you can see it in just the score, right? 5 kills in total for Thunder. And I'm guessing, like, yeah, the last chance qualifier meta still holds up, you know?
Yeah.
This, the Omni Knight Hoodwink, they're not enough to stop it.
No, yeah, didn't see that in the LCQs for Thunder. And the Secret are going to be they're just going to keep using what works for them, right? And that's certainly going to be a strategy that at least finds them a win here in game number 1. But it looked fairly comfortable for them. I think mid lane was slightly favored for Nisha. You know, I think based on the hero matchup, that's maybe like 60-40 for SF or so. But off and safe lane for Secret were pretty one-sided, I think is safe to say, against Thunder, which just didn't really give him an into this game. I mean, Rezo goes 7-0 and 9 here on the Mirana just because he's able to continue farming for, well, basically as long as he pleased.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the best part for Thunder in this game was this level 1 fight, right? Where,
Yes, that's true.
They definitely came out ahead. But then after that, like, yeah, the Omni Knight he basically looked like a support this game. Had a very difficult lane, and then, you know, he tried his best, throwing some supportive abilities, but just doesn't do enough.
Nope. And Secret eventually they find the one fight they need there to close out that game, and yeah, with the net worth just climbing and climbing and climbing. You'll see here through the replays. I mean, this is just, what, 13 minutes in, Secret already tripling the kills that Thunder have. And Thunder, by the way, only find one more for the rest. This is it. That's the last kill of the game. I mean, that's how rough this game was for them, you know, just in case it wasn't obvious from what we just saw, but just really tough. Really, really tough for Thunder here. But a great opening from Secret. It kind of reminds me sometimes, you remember last year's DPC Majors where we had teams that would qualify directly to playoffs from their TI regional leagues, and then you had teams that would go through the wildcard stages, kind of just 2-1 them or 2-0 them because they had so much more practice and they were so much more fresh, right? It was looking like Secret putting a lot of their recent experience to work.
Yeah. I mean, generally though, like, that's not as much an excuse here for TI, where you have had like a long boot camp before. But at the same time, yeah, it definitely helps to like have tried and like true and tested strategies compared to Hoodwink and Omni Knight.
I don't know if we'll end up seeing those again, at least so quickly, perhaps for game 2. You can barely see us behind this massive SF, and SF was massive here for them this game. Really broke this game open for them.
Yeah, he went for kind of an interesting build, like that old school Yules first, you know? I don't think I've ever saw that. Even people who went like more magic SF, they usually still went Dragonlance BKB, and then they went for that Arcane Link. Like that was more the path. Nisha, a bit more old school here. Yeah.
Speaking of old school, I think the last time I saw this build straight up, just with power treads and whatnot, was back when Dendi was playing for Bates and ended up going for this build a couple of times. It has been a while, you know, back this old style build. So we'll take a look at our MVP for Zayats. I think played a fantastic series here, right on that Mars. He really did break open that bottom lane, especially for Rezo. Really no opportunities to kill him. He was free to rotate around the map, moved top, moved mid. Yeah, and 73% kill participation, I think, is something to be quite proud of here. And definitely means I think you're playing the Marcy as she's best suited.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, he abused the hero to its fullest, right? Because Pakas showed up there in the safe lane with, like, what, 500 more net worth than he should have? But it didn't matter. They just feed on the... Like, you step out of position just a little bit as a position 5 versus Marcy, and you die. And then your carries are low, and then he gets cocky, and he dies too, and then it's just very difficult.
Yeah, certainly. Some pretty one-sided games so far here on the A stream, with EG finding their victory earlier. Secret look like they're well on their way to repeat the same. We'll see what Thunder is going to be able to bring here in game number 2, as that takes us to our break here in between games. Stick around, guys. After the break, Secret versus Thunder Awaken, game number 2.
and our swords, we pave the path to victory. With our shields and our swords, we temper our courage. With our shields and our swords, we're making history. With those who make the game a reality, we're the vanguard. We're with the best. Let's raise our shields.
Welcome back, everyone. The TI-11 group stage continues here into our second series of the day. We're going to be advancing a little bit faster here over on the A stream compared to other games, so thank you guys for keeping up with us and staying tuned as we're about to get started with game number 2 between Team Secret and Thunder Awaken. And like I'm saying, Pi, it's been a fairly one-sided day so far here, with Secret really dominating in game 1.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. That was something
No
happened.
problem.
Yeah, no, I think, and even when you go back to the earlier drafts with EG, they every game has kind of been an outdraft, especially when you're looking at it in hindsight. There, I think the first game here, Secret versus their first game versus Thunder Awaken here, you could see it more clearly. Like, I felt very uncomfortable with what Thunder Awaken ended up with, like their draft. It felt not very cohesive, and like most of their cores were countered. So I hope they can bring something better here.
And I have to say, I'm really impressed with the amount of preparation that Secret have managed to get ahead of this tournament. I think not only did they have to prep for 11 other combatants, you know, in LCQs, some of which is a little bit difficult because a lot of those teams, especially from like NASA, are a little bit more wild cards, no pun intended there with the team name, of course. But they've also done a lot of research here on Thunder, right? I mean, that Nyx ban is very, very targeted for Matthew. I mean, it's a hero that he can make a lot of space on, and it's a hero that SA has been keen to pick every now and then. Not the biggest stranger to this patch, of course, by any means. I think Nine's even playing it mid on occasion, but certainly not, you know, a first phase ban material against most teams. So kudos to Heen or whoever else assist him with his draft preparation, because I think Secret have been on the ball.
No, for sure. And yeah, we have a bunch, because I'm just thinking back to the EG game, right, where they gave up Marcy, but in return they got Primal Beast and Undying. That seems like maybe it's a fair trade. In this game we see like Enigma is open. I don't know how highly people rate that. And I don't remember. Do you remember if Undying was banned in game 1?
I believe he was, but I'll go ahead and pull up our draft and double check.
Okay. Because that's also here I'm curious about. Because I still feel like you just pick that guy when you get the chance. Maybe Secret are not as scared. I feel like in the last chance qualifier, Undying was more and more like out of the meta. People still liked him, but they were not like ready to first pick him as much.
Team Secrets.
A little bit of a more reserved admiration is Thunder. I'm gonna go back to this Hoodwink again.
Okay, first pick.
Yeah.
Very strange. I mean, I guess because you and me, we both watched like basically 30 games the last chance qualifier, and I don't even remember seeing Hoodwink.
10 seconds remaining.
Maybe it was in one game or so.
Yeah, I can't claim to. I can't claim to correct you on that. Yeah, I wouldn't stand to correct you. I think. I mean, let's talk about what the hero does bring, right? One of the more, some can be a quite annoying laning presence, especially against maybe some summons. Maybe that's what they thought the strength would be. You know, if there's going to be a Chen or an Ench surrounded by a creep, the Acorn Shot naturally can bounce and do a lot of damage there. It brings a break. I'm not sure if that's maybe something that Thunder are valuing it for. But yeah, I mean, it didn't. At least their lane didn't look so fantastic between themselves and the Omni, and it's not going to stop Puppey from picking the Chen if that's what it was for.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my best guess is just he's a strong laner, right? And that's it. So they just want a strong position for laner. Yeah, so they just want a strong position for laner picked.
Well, I think, yeah, Undying just not contested in game 1, actually, in this series. Quite fascinating. Secrets with a slightly different opener here. Last time, of course, they got away with the Marcy. This time they actually ban it out. So they open up with Chen SF instead of the Marcy SF. We'll see if Thunder are going to go with the Omni, which they picked up at this stage last time.
Yeah. No, so it seems like both of these teams have a very different outlook on Undying. You can see EG heavily prioritizing it. Kind of locking Sonics into a way where he always also ended up with a good matchup in his lane. And then providing strong team fights. He barely died too, right? Like usually with Undying you can end up feeding a bit, but Fly had like what, one or two deaths both games. So
Yeah, I think he had exactly 1 or 2 deaths in the entire series. Yeah, and I think let me check his Dota buff just to make extra sure. But the Undying is not a hero that Panda has particularly been spamming lately.
yeah.
You know, I would assume if you want to be picking up this hero ahead of the patch because it looks good in LCQs and whatever the stats look good behind the hero, well, he hasn't agreed with that. He's only played 1 game in the past 8 days on Dota Super Tracker, and he hasn't won with it. So I don't know if it's just something he's been looking to avoid or if it's just not in his wheelhouse here, really.
Yeah, they're just doing completely their own thing here. They first pick Hoodwink and they follow up with a Crystal Maiden. Yeah, saving their course, I guess.
Team secrets turn to ban.
He does kind of play the Undying. He's got 38 matches played on it. I'll try and find the most recent one anyway for Panda, but in an official, right? But yeah, it's certainly they're forging their own way. The Hoodwink Maiden opener now. Very squishy supports.
Yeah, no, I'm still gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, right? It's early on in the groups here. I'm guessing they have practiced, you know. So game 1, what they did not work out. So maybe they can change it up slightly here and make something happen. Because here, like, you have to ban Tusker, I believe. Like Secret are just instantly gonna pick Tusk if it's available.
Team secrets turn to ban.
Okay, so they don't ban it. They ban Mirana instead.
Yeah, just our producer let us know that Secret only picked Undying once in the LCQs. So it's just not a hero that either of these teams value or like to play.
Yeah.
It's not the case here.
Yeah, and Enigma also untouched.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, also quite curious, huh?
But I get it more like because when I see Secret's pick, right, like whatever they pick early, like I go like, yeah, I can see why that's stronger than that. When I'm looking at Thunder Awaken and I see this Hoodwink and Crystal Maiden, I'm not as sure. So that's why I'm curious what they're gonna follow it up with, because I'm expecting them to at least have something.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's a safe assumption. I think whatever they had in mind last time around, I think Secret kind of just managed to pull at the strings of that draft, especially with on-meta picks that Secret were running that have already proven their strengths. It looked fairly easy for them to kind of dismantle the Thunder draft. We'll see here if the second one is a little bit more in store for them.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to these 2 picks now from Thunder. I agree.
No, so they pick up Earthshaker instead of Tusk. It's a little surprising for me. I would expect you wanted like this, like a bit faster tempo. Like Tusker doesn't need Dagger. Earthshaker technically doesn't need Dagger, but he needs it way more than Tusk does at least.
Team secrets.
Okay, Dawnbreaker.
All right.
And Zeus. Okay, so maybe a little bit of some sort of global play where you got Hoodwink hiding in the trees, throws in a stun, Dawnbreaker to ult in, Zeus to ult in. Well,
I like this way more than the first game. Like these are not common heroes, right? And you might be looking at it and go like, oh, this is perhaps a little clowny. But if you like look at stats and stuff and you really think about it, like Zeus versus Shadow Fiend, it's quite a good matchup for Zeus. Also versus Shaker, Zeus is pretty strong, and Dawnbreaker in lane versus Shen especially, it's easy to feed on him. The only unfortunate part is you have this Hoodwink with Dawnbreaker, right? And you can end up in these situations where you break the trees with your hammer when you try to follow up on the go. So, but I mean, it's not the biggest deal in the world.
Yeah, not the biggest deal, and you know, even if you are bringing it with a hammer, ideally you follow it up with a Starbreaker to stun, right, and some damage. But I mean, yeah, it's a little bit of counter synergy, which is certainly worth pointing out. Something that Thunder are going to have to take care to avoid.
I mean, okay, so yes, let me say the unfortunate part too. Like Dawnbreaker generally wants a hero that can initiate and go, right, so you can follow up with your ultimate, so you can be aggressive. In this case, he doesn't really. He only has a bunch of backliners, so he can only counter-initiate. So that's where they are now. They still have 1 more pick, so they can maybe get some sort of carry that goes in. But we'll see.
That's a pretty mean Ember pick as well, I think, out from Secret. Not a lot of control, right, for this Ember that you can reliably count on. Maiden would be lucky if she gets into range of an Ember Spirit and she doesn't die with how little armor she has and HP, and of course with probably an Orb of Corrosion and a couple of Maelstrom procs, she's just simply dead. So the setup onto this Ember is not amazing. which is why it looks like Secret will, what do you think, transition the SF carry and run this Ember mid?
Looks that way, but it's a little surprising to me. I would rather do the Ember carry, to be honest.
Okay.
I want to see. Maybe they do, as you say, though. But because I think Zeus versus Ember mid it's Zeus favored, like for sure. And Shadowfiend, you can die. Like it's quite easy to die to Dawnbreaker Hoodwink. Shen can't really protect you, right? It's only later on if maybe he starts getting like stronger creeps, but the first 5 minutes, it's quite easy to feed.
Okay, I see that. Something to contend with, right, on this Thunder. It's certainly an off-lane that it sounds like you have some concerns over, right? You need to send someone who's a little bit more durable in that lane, someone that you know, doesn't necessarily need the Chen to take all the damage from it. Because like you're saying, you can feed on the Chen, and you certainly wouldn't want that to extend to your safe laner as well.
Yeah.
Enigma Morphling banned, so Thunder is still looking for their safe laner. I don't think this is quite the Pakaz hero for the team, this Dawnbreaker. I would expect it to be offlane, as we have been alluding to.
I mean, you are right there too, though. Yeah, you could just play this carry. Yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see.
Another ban, though. Looking for another resolution hero to ban here. I guess it kind of depends what Thunder have in mind, right? Rezo has not shied away from some slightly off-meta picks. For example, like his Darkseer, he's really been a fan of. Darkseer Earthshaker, you know, into an illusion hero. Doesn't sound like the worst case, but I kind of doubt Thunder would pick an illusion hero with the Shaker and Ember already showing, to be honest.
Yeah, more likely like maybe a Lifestealer, something like that.
Okay. Oh, they banned the 5. Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, for Thunder, yes.
Yeah, that Enigma ban is probably a good ban.
Yeah, it's heads-up ban. Secret as well with last pick. So then we're going to be thinking as well, trying to limit whatever damage the Thunder can look to do in their safe lane with this last pick.
I guess Thunder could technically go for a Slark too, but I like the Lifestealer a lot. I wonder if there's something you can counter it in lane with, but yeah, let's see what to do. I mean, and you brought it up, right? Like you could still put this Dawnbreaker carry. I don't know what offlaner you would want for that, but it is playable.
Yeah. Wouldn't be the craziest suggestion. Don't see it here recently played for Pakaz.
No, it's not this style, right? Like I would be very surprised. Okay.
It's gonna be the Pudge. That's a little bit more in his wheelhouse here. He's been learning that one. And of course, certainly a high win rate hero. Something that might actually maybe be able to threaten the Ember, right? If you do manage to land a stun onto him here or there, maybe a Pudge comes in with a hook and there you go. You're on top of the Ember. Certainly something that threatens the SF.
I mean, I like it for the Dawnbreaker especially. Now he has a target he can either save or follow up if he gets like Dagger BKB, right? So you can just go. So I think something like this was necessary to pick.
Having a laugh about something there. I think they might be maybe choosing Pudge Cosmetics or something.
yeah. Makes sense.
Making sure he's got the nicest ones. But Thunder, they seem fairly pleased. They don't look too shaken from game one, even though it was quite one-sided. They look pretty reset and ready to go, which I think bodes well for their chances here, right? You certainly would want to bounce back after how bad of a lashing that game one was. And Secret not thinking about their last pick here. He likely hovering over something, has locked it in.
Okay.
It'll be the Doom for them.
All right.
For Rezo.
Fair enough. I mean, if you look at Thunder Awaken's lineup, they have a very fighting lineup. Not a lot of Roche, not a lot of tower push. That does come later. Like if you finish like a Deso on the Dawnbreaker, for example, you can do that type of stuff. But early, like the first 15-20 minutes, I expect them to just run around and fight, look for kills.
Yeah, and there's the Pakaz Pudge. Maybe they bought him the Arcana real quick to make sure he'd have that one ready. Rezo with a pretty nice guitar himself. But yeah, I mean, very fight heavy, right? Skirmish heavy. The Doom targets there's a couple really good ones actually, aren't there here? Especially that Dawnbreaker, I think. You end up dooming her. She's not going to be super happy to be in the fights. Either of the supports you can just ignore as soon as they're doomed.
Yeah, I feel like you doom anything here. Even dooming the Pudge is probably okay. Let him
How do you
kill
feel?
himself.
How do you feel playing Shannon to Pudge? And this is something we can discuss a little bit more, but on occasion it can be very annoying to have all your creeps be instantly killed and hooked if you actually kind of end up needing them. How good of a Chen game basically is this looking like?
Yeah, it depends on how good, like how the game pans out. If you start falling very far behind, or like they have the tempo on you, then it can be difficult because it's hard to get creeps. If Puppy can get a game like last game, where he gets to pick these aura creeps that don't have to go in, then it really doesn't matter, right? You just keep the creeps in the back and let them be auras.
That's true. See how Puppey decides to go this time around. And finally, you're a support player. You play lots of pubs. You're still very active, right, in playing. Thoughts on Maiden right now, right? This is something that Thunder are showing to be a little bit newer here. Where do you think she stands in the meta?
Like B tier, she's alright. I get it though with the Pudge, it can be a very strong lane, right? You basically just freeze them in place and he gets a free hook. And she also gives mana for all the other lanes. Like she actually synergizes very well with the lineup. And you were talking about Ember versus Maiden, it's true. Like you do get cut up quite easily. But if you get a lot of points in your Frostbite, it can get very annoying for this Ember Spirit.
We'll see here how they are going to be looking to lane this one and play this one. It is going to be Crystal safe lane on the SF with Nisha heading mid on the Ember. I know you highlighted some concerns of Crystal potentially maybe taking a couple deaths here with how brutal this off-lane Dawnbreaker can be, especially when paired with a long-range stun to initiate on. So if Thunder can look to avoid that hiccup that is a little bit of their anti-synergy, yeah, I could see SF being a pretty easy target here, and Chen not being able to do too much about it.
Yeah, but they might be switching, like how they were moving in the start. You see where Sayak is, right, and his items. So maybe I think they're putting the Shaker with the Shadow Fiend. So they have a stun here to disengage if the Dawnbreaker goes. And then the Chen will just play in the offlane with the Doom. And they'll just try to regen and farm. So that makes sense. And at the same time, Thunder, like they're thinking the same, right? So maybe they'll putting the Crystal Maiden in the offlane to counter the Shen. But then the Shen will already be bottom, so we'll see.
Rizzo with some nice coordination there on the voice lines. That's a bit of a show early on. I imagine he's going to find a good amount of farm. He's already got that Midas queued up, of course. Doom already comes with one in the Devour. So he'll be able to farm up plenty. That's always something that the Doom gives you, even if the lane is incredibly hard for him, like this Pudge Maiden lane could be. He's always got that to come back on and farm extra efficiently on to make sure he has relevance in the mid game.
Yeah. Yeah, so it seems like Puppey is ending up with this Doom. And yeah, Crystal Maiden sees it, and she'll be with her Pudge down here.
Yeah, I think that combo's maybe a little bit too good. I don't know if you would want this Maiden top necessarily into SF and Shaker necessarily.
I think she would be fine wherever, but
okay.
This was their original idea, right? So
they want this lane combo basically.
Yeah.
I'll see. Hook ready to go, and we'll take a look here across all three lanes. Of course, mid lane Ember versus Dark Mago Zeus. Nisha on that Ember, of course, with the early points in Flame Guard, nuking the way, forcing the Mago to come under tower. But yeah, should be plenty of action on all three lanes here, actually, for Thunder. Now, something I was discussing with you as well previous to the series getting started, and a little bit of background, is I really do think that this team tends to win or lose the mid game around Dark Mago. If he's able to have a game, he's generally very aggressive and has a pretty good sense on the map to kind of run around and get the job done. That's proven to be the case versus, the top teams as well, like versus OG even, he was able to make a lot of work happen here. Puppey, of course, is one of the most veteran players and the most veteran player in this tournament. He might be a different force to be reckoned with. So, and I don't know if Zeus is necessarily that tempo hero that he really likes to play, such as like a Tiny or something like that. So I'm eager to see how he is going to be looking to play this game, because it does seem like Pakaz is going to have to get involved much earlier than he might be used to.
Yeah, now you're definitely not, maybe like very early if you're like ahead, you can run around a bit with Zeus, but generally, you just push out the mid wave and you maybe TP into a fight, but most of the time you're just farming, pressing your ultimate.
Securing kills for the team. Hook there onto Puppey underneath tier 1 tower. He goes and first blood for Thunder.
Yeah. Can't really stop that.
Yeah. That's why they drafted that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fairly simple combo, and not a lot Puppey can do about it. Does need to be in the area to at least contest some of these creeps and make sure that Pakaz with his incredible, 83 base damage already. Doom not bad at all, right? But my goodness, it's so hard to see us against this Pudge hero.
The lanes are already going way better for Thunder Awakens here.
And a very small win in the mid lane as well, as Anisha fails to actually secure the second water rune. So that means Mago got both refills here at 2 minutes. Just a small win.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Top lane. Careful here, as they will make a play on a Chrysalis. Look at this damage. Is he just dead? Needs to break vision at least. Matthew out of range. Sacred giving chase. Matthew here, he's got another bushwhack in a couple seconds. Crystals, he has no choice but to juke in the trees, and he is easy pickings for a bushwhack. Zayas even's going to go ahead and cancel the fissure. Nothing he can do. Crystals is just dead.
Yeah, but honestly, that kill is not even... I think they lost like 5 creeps to the tower there.
Okay.
So that kill was like... Yeah, you're okay with that.
And Zayas as well, I think he actually kind of... looks like he got a
Resso is
conflict.
getting killed bottom?
Yes, he is. Oh,
Yep.
yeah, the rot.
Goes
That'll
down.
get the job done. And even the purge there, that slow, couldn't stop Pekaz from rotting down onto Rezo. 3 unanswered kills so far.
Yeah, I think this lane is not very... It's not very fun at all. I don't really know how you counter anything they do. When they go on you, like... Yeah, you either die or escape with 50 HP.
Yep, and Panda's even feeling confident enough to get in a little bit of last hit in here, clearing the camp so Puppey can't grab a second creep as much as he'd love to right with that second point. Carol top lane, another bushwhack here. Zayas gets off the fissure, prevents that